Good evening, everyone. Welcome here to Splanane Field here in Wareham. A big game this evening as we have the Hyannis Harbor Hawks heading off against the Wareham Gatemen. I'm Robert Marcello, and Chris Lucey, I'm here with you. You're going to be the first half play-by-play call today. A big game this evening for the Harbor Hawks.
Oh, no. Absolutely it is, Robert. Hello, everybody. Yeah, these two teams have been going back and forth all season long for the top of the Western Division, and there have been some lopsided games on both sides. Heck, there was one game that lasted 10 days, that protested game that had to be stretched out a couple. Not exactly 10 days, but hey, it started one day. It started on the 7th and then finished on the 17th. So make of that what you will. These two teams have just been at each other's throats seemingly all season long, and it's been a fun series to watch, and the conclusion, at least regular season-wise, comes tonight. And, I mean, there's no guarantee that it means the Western Division to either of these ball clubs, but to be honest, Robert, it's felt like it all week.
And that was a prelude to the question I was going to ask you. Whoever wins this game more than likely could win the regular season title and be able to have home field advantage throughout the Western Conference playoffs. And how significant is that for the Harbor Hawks being down 2 points?
Well, you look at this exactly. Yeah, Hyannis is down 47 points to 45. Wareham out front with 47. I think for the Harbor Hawks, a game like tonight doesn't necessarily mean that they win the Western Division. If Hyannis is able to take this game, they have a very slim lead over their Western Division foes going into a game tomorrow against the Orleans Firebirds, and then a day after against the Bourne Braves, and then two against the YD Red Sox. So although there are two easier type games coming up, there are two very tough games to end the season. So no guarantees that Hyannis is able to build too many points after this, whereas the Wareham Gatemen already have the 2-point lead over Hyannis. They have a bit of an easier schedule going down the road. So it's almost as if Hyannis needs this to stay in contention for the Western Division title. And if they lose this, it essentially seals it up for the Wareham Gatemen.
Brett Scholl's on the mound today for the Harbor Hawks. Chris, what do you expect to see from him?
Well, it's actually going to be a funny moment to start off the game for Brett Scholl. I was talking to the leadoff man for the Wareham Gatemen today, Isaac Collins. He plays his college ball at Creighton. And he and Brett Scholl graduated from the same high school, played together since they were 12 years old. And this is the first time they're going to be seeing each other all summer long. So this is going to be a very interesting matchup to start off the game, to say the least. But going back to Brett Scholl as a whole, he's a guy that just pounds the strike zone. He hasn't gotten too many innings this season, 15 2/3. So the Harbor Hawks are looking for him to go long, to continue pounding the strike zone. He has a 3-pitch arsenal at his disposal: a fastball, a curveball, slider, we call it a slurve, and then a changeup as well. He'll have to keep the ball a bit more down than he has in the past, but today should be a good one for Hyannis if they're able to get good length out of Scholl, because the bullpen will be a little bit tired after a 9-2 loss to the Chatham Anglers last night, where they had to expend a lot of arms out of the pen.
They sure did, and the Harbor Hawks unfortunately dropping that game against Chatham. How kind of a big of a measuring stick can the Harbor Hawks have if they are able to win tonight, knowing that they're able to beat a team like Wareham that more than likely will be seeing in the playoffs?
I don't think confidence has ever really been a problem for this team all summer long. They mesh very well together as a group. A lot of guys on this team have gotten very close, and I honestly don't think they're done playing together, to say the least. There are teams every summer that will kind of pack it in around the end of the season, no matter how well they're doing, but that's not the case with this team. It's a confident ball club. They enjoy being together, and I honestly don't think their confidence really wavers day in and day out. You have a lot of guys on this team that are just rock solid steady. Matthew Barefoot, for example. I mean, you got to be pretty steady to have a 22-game hit streak on the year. He does a great job setting a tone for this team. Cal Wilkie and Pedro Pages, also both vocal leaders who do much the same. So I think this, of course, will be a big one for the Harbor Hawks. It'll definitely get everyone excited if they're able to win today. But honestly, I think between the talent this club has and its mentality, that it's just another game, just like every other game has been all season long.
Well, thanks, Chris. I'm going to let you get back to what you need to do, but I'm going to quickly just go around some league scores and other things happening tonight, and then I'll send to a break, and then right back at you will be Chris, Lucey, and Lyle Goldstein on the call. Currently in the bottom of the first, the YD Red Sox currently beating the Harwich Mariners 2-0. In the top of the second inning, it is 0-0 between Orleans and Brewster. The warm-up currently happening here in Wareham at 6 o'clock. The Katuitt Kettleers are on the road heading off against the Bourne Braves. And then the nightcap at 7 o'clock will be the Falmouth Commodores and the Chatham Anglers. Well, that's going to do things here on the pregame show. I'm Robert Marcello. Thank you, everyone, for listening and enjoyed tonight's game. Big implications here from Splenary Field here in Wareham, the Harbor Hawks, and the Wareham Gatemen.
Magic Works Media copyright. 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 Time for lineups and first pitch on the Hyannis Harborhawks Digital Network.
Game number 40 on the Cape League season for the Hyannis Harborhawks doesn't necessarily have a must-win feel for the Wareham Gatemen, but the Harborhawks need to take this one home to at least have a chance at taking the Western Division by season's end. Good evening, everybody. Alongside Lyle Goldstein, I'm Chris Lucey, and Lyle, like I just mentioned, the Wareham Gatemen bring a 2-point lead into this game, whereas the Harborhawks trail by 1. And while the Harborhawks can't necessarily win the division tonight, the Wareham Gatemen sure can.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the Gatemen, coming off a big win yesterday against the Orleans Firebirds, they swung the bats really well, putting up 11 runs. So they're going to be feeding off that momentum today, and especially coming back at home to Spillane Field here just off the Cape. So for the Harborhawks and Brett Schultz, it's going to be a test for him today. Just a couple of points behind, but we'll see how things fare out.
Brett Schultz set for his first start of the summer and really his first start of the year. And he has a 1-2 record on the Cape League summer, a 5.17 ERA in 10 games started. He saved 3 for the Harborhawks, pitched 15 2/3, 14 strikeouts and 5 walks. Lyle, he's a guy that can pound the strike zone and could prospectively go pretty long for Hyannis, which they'll need after last night.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see how long he, in fact, does go. As you mentioned, this is really his first start of the summer. So the duration could be a little bit of a question just because he's been mostly out of the pen. But for Brett Schultz, he's a guy who throws pretty hard, fastball in the low to mid-90s, and can locate pretty well. So we'll see how he does against a good offensive team in the Wareham Gatemen.
Countering Schultz on the mound for Wareham is Zach Hart, going into his senior year at Franklin Pierce University after the summer reaches its end. He has yet to win or lose a game on the season, but comes into this one with a 1.96 ERA. He's thrown 10 games, has yet to get a start either. He saved 1, pitched 18 1/3 innings, struck out 13, only walked 2, Lyle. So this is a guy who likes to pitch to contact. He's allowed 16 hits this year. And as we've seen with the Harborhawks all season long, getting to him early will be crucial.
Oh, absolutely. And like you mentioned, Zach Hart, not a guy that's thrown a whole lot of innings this summer either, especially not in duration with the total of 1 start. 4 innings being his high against the Katuitt Kettleers, and the Harborhawks have actually seen him once already. That was here at Spillane Field back on June the 29th. Win an inning in a third and a 4-3 Gateman win. So the Harborhawks will see him for the second time around today and for a little bit longer, assuming. But putting up runs on the board early is going to be crucial for him because, as we've talked about time after time, the numbers go in their favor when they score first.
Drew Millis is catching today for Zach Hart. Over at first base will be Lyle Lockhart. Lyle plays his college baseball over at Houston. Drew at Missouri State. Playing second base for the Wareham Gatemen today, Oliver Dunn out of Utah. At third base today, Austin Shenton out of Florida International University. at shortstop, Ryan Kreidler out of UCLA. And now we go from left to right in the outfield. Jacob Goldfarb out of Oregon in left field, Jeremy Idens in center field, and then in right field, Isaac Collins out of Creighton. Davis Wenzel set to lead this one off. He plays his college baseball at Baylor. Tommy Jew from UCSB in the 2 spot, Matt Barefoot in the 3 spot, and we'll get to the rest of the lineup after the first pitch. Hart coming to the set. No score yet here from Spillane Field. The first pitch of the game. Called a ball low and away, and we're underway from Wareham. The Western Division hanging in the balance for the Harbor Hawks. Wareham can pretty much lock it down today, the 1-0. Called a strike over the outer half. Nice little off-speed pitch from Hart. Count now even, a ball and a strike. Or on the other hand, Hyannis can keep themselves in the mix. They trail by a point. The 1-1. Cut on and nicked foul by Wenzel. Count out now to 1-2. Infield and outfield playing straight away. This thing just got started. Davis Wenzel is batting .257 on the season. 36 hit and 140 at-bats. The righty-righty matchup has the 1-2 pitch. Called a ball low and inside, just missing around knee level over the inner black. 2-2 the count. Plenty of sun left to be had here at Spillane Field. Got off to an early start, 5:30. Usually they get started at 6:30 out here, the 2-2. Cut on and a high ball chopped high and foul down the right field line, out of play. 2-2 remains the count on Davis Wenzel, one of the most disciplined hitters on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Hart to the set. 2-2 count forthcoming. No one down here in the top of the first. Here's the pitch. Called a strike over the outer half, and Davis Wenzel goes down looking. One away here in the top of the first inning. Still scoreless from Spillane Field. Wareham and Hyannis doing battle for Western Division supremacy. And now here comes Tommy Jew, today's center fielder, playing his college baseball at the University of California at Santa Barbara. He's coming up to the right-hand side of the plate against the righty Hart out of Franklin Pierce University. Division II school, playing in the Northeast 10 Conference, not all that far from here. Hart comes to the set, takes a long time, and moves from the windup. The pitch, cut on and grounded a one-hopper over to Dunn, the second baseman, who fields forehand side, throws on to Lockhart at first, and there's 2 away. Tommy Jew going out by way of the 4-3 for the second out of the top of the first. Still no score, and now Matthew Barefoot coming to the plate for Hyannis. Outfielders backing up just a little bit, likewise down the third base line. Austin Shenton, third baseman, playing no doubles defense to the pole hitter in Barefoot. The pitch, cut on and served high and foul. Count now 0-1 on the Campbell University Camel. Matt carries a .377 batting average into this game, 49 hits and 130 at-bats. The 1-2. Called a strike right down Broadway. Count 0-2. Zach Hart has faced 2 and retired 2. Now he has an 0-2 count on one of the Cape League's hottest hitters. This thing's moving quickly from Spillane Field. Now the 0-2 pitch. And it beans Matthew Barefoot. Matt's hit for the 9th time this season, and he gets a free base. Working his way 90 feet for the first base runner of the game for Hyannis. Top of the first inning, still no score. 2 men down, and Seth Gray coming to the plate. Seth in the midst of a little bit of a skid. He's 0 for his last 11. Steps into the left-handed batter's box. Matt Barefoot with a big lead off of first, held on by Lyle Lockhart. Infield now double play depth. The first pitch. Called a ball low and away. 1-0 the count. Seth still with a .259 batting average on the year. He's been solid for Hyannis. As now Hart comes to a low set and deals from the stretch. Pitch that's cut on and nicked foul behind home. Count now 1-1. 108 at bats for Seth, 28 hits. Also knocked in 12 runs. RBI number 13 for him right here would put Hyannis out to an early lead. There's still no score out here at Spillane Field. Just got started on game number 40 of the season. Hart to the set. And the pitch. Called a strike. 1-2 the count. Fastball coming over the outer black. Righty-lefty matchup. Advantage to the righty on the mound out of Franklin Pierce. The Wright State Raider has to shorten up right now. Snap throw back over to first. Matthew Barefoot dives in safely atop a gray stone dust infield. Only infield on the Cape with stone dust, although home plate is still surrounded with the normal brown dirt. Snap throw over to first again. Barefoot safe once more. Also, the pitcher's mound has usual dirt on it. Most infielders don't really complain about the stone dust, though. Still yields a true hop. 1-2 the count on Seth Gray. Two-way, top of the first. The pitch cut on and fisted over towards Austin Shenton, and the third baseman lets it bounce off the heel of his glove, and he loses track of it. It moves behind him at third base. Seth Gray stopping up over at first. Matthew Barefoot all the way to third. And now there's runners on the corners with two away here in the top of the first inning.
And Shenton having to backhand that one in the hole over at third base. Just hit off the heel of his glove and trickled into the outfield grass. And with nobody covering the bag, Kreidler having to move over from short. Barefoot taking an extra 90 feet down to third.
Tough play to make with the sun right in your eyes going down the line. Seth Gray reaches first on an E5. Matthew Barefoot all the way over to third. He started off on first. What was going on the 1-2 pitch? And now Pedro Page is up to the right side of the plate. Still scoreless from Wareham, but Hyannis in business. Top of the first inning, 2 men down, runners on the corners. Infield playing back. Lyle Lockhart holding on the runner at first. Page is at the right side and the pitch. Called a ball high in sight from the righty. 246 batting average on the campaign from the Western Division's all-star catcher. He started the game for the West Division behind the plate. And now Hart comes to the set again. Looks back the runner at third and deals. A pitch that's hacked on, serve foul behind home. Count at a ball and a strike. Hyannis coming out today in their road blues with white pants, orange lettering, orange sleeves. Wareham in their home dark blues, red W's on the chest, dark blue caps with red W's on the foreheads, complementing that with white pants. Hyannis wearing blue batting helmets right now. 1-1. Cut on and a high pop-up down the right side. This one is chasing Lockhart over towards foul territory. The first baseman fights off the sun and makes the catch for the final out of the inning. So no hits, 2 men left on base, no runners scored, and the Harbor Hawks go into their half of the first inning looking to defend a scoreless tie against the Wareham Gatemen, who send up Isaac Collins, Oliver Dunn, and Austin Shenton. 1, 2, 3 for the Wareham Gatemen. Coming up after a quick break on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Don't go anywhere.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright. You're listening to the Cape Cod Baseball League on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Let's get you back to the game.
Still scoreless from Spillane Field here in Wareham. Alongside Lyle Goldstein, I'm Chris Lucey. The Harbor Hawks taking on the Gatemen to try and snatch back first place in the West. And Brett Scholes leading the charge from the mound for the Harbor Hawks today. We'll go over his line one more time. 1-2 record on the season, 5.17 ERA in 10 games pitched. This his first start of the season, though. 3 saves on the campaign, 15 2/3 innings pitched, 14 strikeouts, 5 walks on the season. And Lyle, as we mentioned earlier today, Hyannis needs length out of him today.
Yeah, absolutely. He's only gone 3+ innings twice so far this summer. He went 3 innings back early in the year, and then his last outing, and we should say against the Falmouth Commodores. Schultz went 4 innings, 1 earned run, 4 strikeouts, but set to make a start here out at Spillane Field today against arguably the best offensive team on the Cape.
And he starts off this game against arguably his closest friend in the game of baseball. Isaac Collins out of Creighton went to high school with Brett Schultz. They graduated together, and they've known each other since they were 12 years old, and now they face each other. The first pitch, called a ball high and outside. Righty Schultz squaring up Collins at the left side of the plate. 2 Minnesota natives out of Maple Grove. Infield, outfield playing straight away, albeit the middle infielder's back on the outfield grass. The pitch, called a ball high and outside. Count now 2-0. Catching today for Schultz is Pedro Pages. He's out of Florida Atlantic University. Brady Lindsley over at first out of Oklahoma. Catcher by trade, but played more first base today than he ever has. The 2-0. Called a ball high and outside. Count 3-0. I should say more first base than he's played all season, but I digress. Taylor Garris from Sanford at second base. Seth Gray over at third out of Wright State. Davis Wenzel at short. Plays his college baseball at Baylor. Tommy Jew in center field. The 2-0. Called a ball. That was actually ball 4. So Isaac Collins works a walk to lead things off here in the bottom of the first inning. Still no score from Wareham. The Gatemen trying to strengthen their grip over the Western Division today. They lead Hyannis by a point, and a win would stake them out to a 3-point edge coming over the final stretch of the season. Oliver Dunn coming up to the plate now. He's also at the left side against the righty Schultz. The pitch, called a ball high and outside again. Schultz struggling to keep the ball down early on here. Walked the first batter on first pitch on 4 pitches, and now he's behind in the count 1-0. The righty comes to the set and deals a pitch that is another ball high and outside. Dunn showing bunt but sucking it back to go ahead in the count 2-0. Over at left field for the Harbor Hawks is Matthew Barefoot out of Campbell. In center field for the Harbor Hawks, Tommy Jew out of UCSB. And in right field, Eric Rivera. The pitch from Schultz, finally a strike. Count now 2-1. Seth Gray creeping over towards the infield grass. Oliver Dunn still at the right side. Snap throw back over to first base. Isaac Collins reaches safely. No tag applied by Brady Lindsley. Still no score from Wareham. Isaac Collins reached with a leadoff walk here in the bottom of the first inning. Schultz out of Minnesota coming to the set. The pitch, called a ball high and outside. Count advances to 2-1. These two ball clubs, no strangers to each other in the final game of a 6-game season series. Schultz to the set and the 2-1. Hacked on and missed by Dunn. Count now 2-2. Dunn carries a hot bat into this game, batting .207 on the season, but had the game of his summer yesterday, 4 for 6 with 2 RBIs against the Orleans Firebirds in an 11-2 Wareham win. Now Schultz comes to the set and the 2-2. Cut on and nicked foul behind home. Count still 2-2. And you talk about kind of bringing yourself up from the doldrums, Lyle. Yesterday, Dunn was able to raise his batting average from 154 to 207 in just one game.
Yeah, he went 4 for 6 yesterday with 2 doubles. So Oliver Dunn, a guy who hit really, really well in his season out at Utah, has struggled out on the Cape for the better part of this summer.
The 2-2. Runner goes, and it's a ball. Snap throw down to second base. Pedro Pages gets a liner to Davis Wenzel, who applies the tag and gets Isaac Collins for the first out of the bottom of the first. Caught stealing right there. The leadoff runner wasted for the Gatemen. There's 1 away. And the count runs full to Oliver Dunn. 3-2, 1 away. No score from Spillane Field. Beautiful throw there from Pages, Lyle.
Yeah, good snap throw, too. Quickly getting to his feet. A strike down to Wenzel at second.
And now Schultz is looking for a strike on the 3-2 pitch. Here it comes. And there it goes for ball 4. 2 walks to start off this game. And we're back to square one, albeit with 1 out. Man on first, 1 away, bottom of the first. Still zeros on the scoreboard here at Spillane Field. Austin Shenton now coming up to the plate. Batting still a torrid .348 on the season, but not really up to the par what he had earlier this year, where he and Matthew Barefoot were going toe-to-toe for the Cape League lead in average. Schultz to the set and the pitch. Low breaking ball for a strike. Slow as well. 0-1 the count. That one coming in on the lefty hitting Shenton and then dipping away towards the outer corner. 0-1 the count. Looked like the slurve right there from Schultz, who comes to the set and moves the 0-1. High in sight on the fastball. Count now 1-1. Middle infield still around double play depth. Davis Wenzel creeping more towards the second base bag, though. Left-handed hitter at the plate. Would be an easier throw for Pedro to make going towards the left side of the second base bag. Not having to worry about the man over to his right behind home plate. Plenty of light to be had. No lights coming on here yet at Spillane Field. The sun still high in the sky. Got off to a 5:30 first pitch, and this game's cruising by, too. The pitch called a strike at knee level. Count now 1-2 on Shenton. Austin again batting .348, 132 at-bats on the Cape League summer, 46 hits, struck out 30 times. He leads the Gateman in punch-outs. Snap throw back over to first, and safe is Oliver Dunn. 29 punch-outs on the season, ties him up with Skylar Hunter out of Purdue. Hunter not in the lineup today for the Gateman. 1-2 the count, Schultz to the set, 1 away. Bottom of the first inning. The pitch. Called a ball low and inside. Count evens, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Page is trying to frame that one up from behind home, but had his work cut out for him there. Pedro had to spend a lot of time at FAU this season playing first base due to hand surgery, but he's getting back in the groove, the 2-2. Cut on and a high fly served deep towards center field. Tommy Jew tracking back towards the wall, looking up, and that ball sails out of the yard for a 2-run home run. Touch 'em all, Austin Shenton. The Wareham Gatemen are up 2-0 in the bottom of the first with 1 away.
And man, Austin Shenton can flat out hit the baseball, to say the least. Here's a kid who's 2 for his last 22, and as you mentioned, struggling toward the tail end of this regular season. But he squares one up from Schultz and takes one to the deepest part of the park, 412 feet to dead center, clearing the fence and giving the Gatemen an early lead here at Spillane Field.
Jeremy Hyannis at the plate, and now Schultz has to bounce back. The pitch. Call it a strike on the inner half of the plate. Hyannis from the right side of the dish against the righty Schultz. 2-0 your score now on 1 swing of the bat from Austin Shenton. The 0-1. Bouncing ball low and away. Count 1-1. Home run number 3 of the campaign for the man out of Florida International. The 3-1. Called a ball low and away. Count now 2-1. That's slurve darting towards the outer half of the dish. Middle infielder still playing back. Base is clear now after the big fly from Austin Shenton. The 2-1. Another one hit high in the air, but that one a more manageable distance out towards Eric Rivera in right. The right fielder makes the play, moving towards the foul line for out number 2. So Chalk Jeremy Hyannis up for 0 for 1. And that right there allows Brett Schultz to relax a little bit after getting spooked on that long fly from Austin Shenton. Still plenty of time left in this game, Lyle, and still plenty more innings for Schultz to cover and recover from that blast as now Pavin Parks comes up to the dish and the pitch. Cut on and serve foul behind home. Count now 0-1. Pavin's batting 189 on the season, 74 at-bats, only 14 hits. 2-0 your score. Wareham out front over the Harbor Hawks. The 0-1. Called a ball low and away. Count even, a ball and a strike. Brett Schultz off to a rocky start, allowed each of the first 3 batters to reach base. And Austin Shenton touched them all with a 2-run blast. The 1-1. Cut on and line back up the middle through for a base hit. Paven Parks rounding first base. Tommy Jew fielding it out in center. He relays the ball in. Paven Parks stopping up at first with a 2-out single.
And these are similar troubles that the Harbor Hawks endured their first time coming to Spillane Field back in that bottom of the first inning. Jeremy Idens hit that leadoff home run. Ryan Kreidler had a big RBI double to right center field. The Gatemen got out to a lead early and just cruised their way through the rest of the ball game. Harbor Hawks, on the other hand, here tonight, trying to avoid that, keep it at just 2 runs after that 2-out hit from Paven Parks.
2 runs in the first inning of this game, also shades of yesterday's loss to the Chatham Anglers. Chatham put up 3 runs in the first frame of that ball game. Now Shells to the set against Lyle Lockhart. Deals a first pitch strike. Lockhart at the left side of the dish against the righty out of Minnesota. Lockhart plays his college ball at Houston. Got a 220 on the season, but another big game last night for him. 0-1. Called a ball low and away. Lockhart knocked in 4 runs on a 2-for-5 night with a grand slam against the Orleans Firebirds. That one came in the first inning, and from there, the races were on. Floodgates opening in an 11-2 win for the Gatemen. The 1-1. Called a ball inside. Count now 2-1. And it's funny, these two teams coming in from opposite sides of the spectrum into this game, Lyle. A 9-2 loss for Hyannis yesterday and an 11-2 win for the Gatemen. Opposite ends of the spectrum, confidence-wise, Hyannis has to shake one off, and Wareham just has to keep chugging. The 2-1. Cut on and in on the hands towards Davis Wenzel. He charges towards the infield grass, fields forehand, throws across the diamond to first, and makes the play for out number 3 in what was an arduous inning for Hyannis. 2 runs score on 1 hit, a pair of walks, 1 man left on base, actually 2 hits. Paven Parks working that 2-out knock. So 1 man left on base on a pair of hits, a pair of walks. One of those hits, though, a 2-run blast off the bat of Austin Shenton, which made this game 2-0 Wareham. Coming up now in the top of the second inning, Hyannis looks to respond with Todd Lott, Eric Rivera, and Brady Lindsley. The 6, 7, and 8 hitters for Hyannis when we get back on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Now back to today's voices of the Hawks, Chris Lucey and Lyle Goldstein.
Todd Lott, Eric Rivera, and Brady Lindsley due up to start things here in the top of the second. Score Wareham 2, Hyannis 0. Alongside Lyle Goldstein, I'm Chris Lucey. Todd Lott at the right side of the dish. Zach Hart on the mound. Righty-righty matchup and the pitch. Called a strike high and tight. 0-1 the count on Todd. Todd batting .280 on the season. 35 hits on the campaign and 125 at-bats. And the first pitch he sees is cut on and grounded foul down the first base line. Or should I say, the next pitch he sees kind of answers to 0-2 on that one. Todd in a bit of a slump right now. He's only 1 for his last 8 at-bats. Trying to break out of it and break a 0 on the scoreboard for the Harbor Hawks, who trail by 2 runs against the Wareham Gatemen early here at Spillane Field. 0-2 pitch. High and outside for ball 1. 1-2 the count on Todd, who at times has been one of the best players in Cape Cod, but other times he's been plagued by the strikeout. 36 Ks on the season. 1-2. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. ring him up for strikeout number 37 to the dismay of Chad Gaspin from the third base box. And there's one away here in the top of the second. Second strikeout of the day for Hart. Still no score for the Harbor Hawks as Wareham already has 2 runs on the board. Eric Rivera coming to the plate now for Hyannis. He's at the right side. The righty Hart to the set. Peers from behind his glove and works from the windup. First pitch, a strike over the outer half. 0-1 the count. Hyannis still has yet to get its first hit in this game. Still early, but gets late early out here, the 0-1. Called another strike, low and outside. Count now 0-2. And I mentioned the old Yogi Berra adage there, Lyle, because this Wareham Gateman Ball Club has really given Hyannis fits at times this season. Hart to the set, and the 0-2. Cut on and served in on the hands over towards the right side of the infield. Oliver Dunn has to stutter step twice to get to the ball. The second baseman relays it to first, and they get Eric Rivera for out number 2. 2 up, 2 down here in the top of the second inning, and Brady Lindsley coming to bat.
Dunn's kept himself busy so far today. He walked and scored in his first at bat and has also recorded the second out of each of the first 2 innings. Right there, slow ground ball off to his left, but corralled it cleanly.
Dunn driven in on that long 2-run blast from Austin Shenton. The pitch to Lindsley, a ball low and away. Brady's batting 164 on the campaign, 73 at-bats, able to muster only 12 hits. 20 strikeouts in that same time, though. The 1-0 pitch. Called a ball low and away, count 2-0. Brady at the left side of the dish against the righty on the mound. 2-0 your score again here in the top of the second inning. Hyannis trailing the Gatemen. Wareham out to an early lead. 2-0 pitch. High in sight. Count now 3-0. Brady Lindsley with the hold on. Infield playing back. Outfield pretty much straight away. Lyle Lockhart playing the pull down the line at first. The pitch. Ball 4, and Brady Lindsley works a 4-pitch walk with 2 away here in the top of the second. An important step forward there for Hyannis, Lyle.
Absolutely, and for Brady Lindsley, being the 3rd man to reach base today for the Harbor Hawks, first guy here in the second inning. And for a guy who struggled a little bit at the plate this summer, to get on base with a walk with the Harbor Hawks down 2-0 is a good sign for the Oklahoma first baseman.
He takes his 2-step lead off first. Taylor Garris at the plate now. Takes a strike at chest level over the outer half. Count 0-1. Garris playing his college ball at Sanford, batting 178 on the summer and 45 at-bats, 22 games played. Comes in to give Braden Como a spell as the 0-1 floats over the outer half again for strike 2. 0-2 the count, 2 away, runner on first base. Hyannis trying to avoid stranding its 3rd runner on base in just 2 innings of work. Brady Lindsley reaching with a 2-out walk and the 0-2 pitch. Cut on and a slow chopper over to Dunn again at second base. He forehands running towards the foul line, throws over to Lyle and makes the catch for out number 3. Lockhart closing his glove on the baseball as Taylor Garris charged his way up 90 feet, but is sent back to the dugout with an 0-for-1. So the Harbor Hawks have batted around in 2 innings, but have yet to score a run. No hits, no runs scored here in the top of the second. 1 man left on base on the walk to Brady Lindsley. And now on to the bottom of the second. Drew Millis, Ryan Kreidler, and Jacob Goldfarb, 2 up for the Gatemen, trying to grow a 2-0 lead here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Stay tuned.
Magic Works Media copyright. You're listening to the Cape Cod Baseball League on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Let's get you back to the game.
Back at it here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network for the bottom of the second inning. Alongside Lyle Goldstein, I'm Chris Lucey. 2-0 your score. Wareham leading the Harbor Hawks. Drew Millis, Ryan Kreidler, and Jacob Goldfarb out against Brett Schultz. The first pitch called a swing and a liner out to center field. Drew Millis sees the ball, hit the ball, and he's out to first base to start off the bottom of the second inning.
And taking that first pitch from Brett Schultz, sending it right back where it came from, back up the middle. That's now the third hit for the Gatemen today here in the bottom of the second inning.
And despite a good amount of hits from the Gatemen early on, they've been disciplined at the plate as well. No strikeouts yet on the day for Wareham. Ryan Kreidler coming up to the right side of the plate. Runner on first base, nobody away in the bottom of the second. A 2-0 lead for the Gatemen. Infield at double play depth. Drew Millis with a 2-step lead off first and a strike dealt by Brett Schultz to start the at-bat. 0-1 the count on the UCLA shortstop. Kreidler batting .240 on the season. 23 hits and 96 at-bats. Righty on the mound comes to the set. Taking his time, and timeout called by Ryan Kreidler. Shortstop for the Bruins out of UCLA. Schultz to the set once again. The pitch. Called a ball high and outside on the fastball. Low set right there from Schultz, and he tried to elevate there, but not able to get any swings and misses from Kreidler. Ryan struck out 18 times on the season, but not fooled there. 1-1 the count. 2-0 the score. Gateman out front. The pitch. Breaking ball for a strike outside. Pedro Pages drops the ball momentarily, but picks it back up, keeping it in front of him, keeping Drew Millis on first. Catcher out of Missouri State led off this inning with a single. Third hit of the day for the Wareham Gatemen started off this inning. First hit of the day for Wareham was a 2-run blast off the bat of Austin Shenton. The pitch. And the 1-2 misses lone away for ball 2. Even count. Mike Mobbs just in front of us here down the third base line. Coaching up third base for the Gatemen. Over at first, Matt Miller. Schultz to the set. And a snap throw back over to first base. Drew Millis slides in head first safely. 2-2 still your count. 2-0 still your score. Brett Schultz trying to settle down after a rough first inning of work. His first out here would go a long way. The 2-2. Cut on and a pop-up towards shallow center field. Taylor Garris and the right fielder Eric Rivera actually coming over to make the play. Ball hit more towards right field than center, although Tommy Jew got an early jump on it. But there's the first out of the bottom of the second inning, and now Brett Schultz can start to work himself into a bit of a lather. That first out always coming in huge for guys who are just starting to get experience starting, Lyle.
Yeah, absolutely. And for Brett Schultz, after giving up a leadoff hit, he induces some soft contact. A pretty easy play for Rivera out there in right field. Now he's got the chance at an inning-ending double play. Obviously, a ground ball in the infield would be ideal. But working against the hitter in Jacob Goldfarb, who struggled for most of this summer, both with the Kettleers and the Gatemen.
Goldfarb playing his college baseball for Oregon. Playing left field today, steps at the left side of the dish. And you mentioned Schultz able to get some soft contact there. Not usually his style coming out of the pen. First pitch. Bouncer in the dirt. Pedro Pages backhands it and snaps right back up from behind home plate. Looks down first base, but gives the ball back to Schultz instead. 15 2/3 innings pitched coming into this game for Schultz. He'd struck out 14, only walked 5, so more of a strikeout guy above all else. Contact, though, how you're able to stay in games late and stretch things out via 1-0. Cut on and grounded up the middle and through past the right-handed grab of Taylor Garris and into right field for a base hit. Station to station go Millis and Goldfarb, and that is a one-out knock for Jacob. Runners on first and second. 2-0 still your score here from Wareham. And that is 2 hits, sandwiching that out to Ryan Kreidler. And the lineup turns over. And Schultz sees an old friend standing at the plate in Isaac Collins. 2 Maple Grove, Minnesota natives coming at each other almost halfway across the country here in Cape Cod. Ready on the mound, lefty at the plate. The pitch. Called a strike. Collins thought about going, but held up. Count 0-1. Collins 0 for 1, or 1 for 1 today, excuse me. Walked in the first inning, but was caught stealing. It's the first out of the ball game. Runners on first and second. No one being really held on, although Davis Wenzel moving his way over towards second base. The shortstop trying to keep the runner honest over there. Pitch hits Collins right on his abdomen, and the bases are jammed. Friendly fire right there. Two childhood friends meeting each other on a bad day right there. Isaac Collins takes a free 90 over to first base. And again, bases jacked, nowhere to put Oliver Dunn, who walked and scored in the bottom of the first inning on that 2-run jack by Austin Shenton. And now Wareham with only 1 away here in the bottom of the second inning, looking to grow that 2-0 edge. Dunn's at the left side of the plate. Everybody with a little bit of a lead off their respective bases. Millis on third, Goldfarb on second, and Collins on first. Scholl steps off, and Pedro Page is out from behind home plate for a word. What do you think they're talking about here, Lyle?
Likely just trying to settle them down. Often that's the job of a catcher, is to try to keep your pitcher composed and keep them in the ball game. And then, of course, in terms of a game situation with the bases loaded and 1 out, looking to induce some soft contact favorably on the ground and in the infield, with everybody playing back and the double play ball in play.
Outfielders playing a bit back as well. The pitch. Ball in the dirt. Nice scoop by Pages behind home plate. 1-0 now the count to Oliver Dunn. Today's second baseman out of Utah. Had a sensational season, batting .319 for the Utes. Hit 4 home runs as well. 9 stolen bases too. The pitch. Got on and grounded foul down the right field line. Backhand stab and foul ground by Lindsley. Throws it back over to Scholes. Everybody jumping on contact and now retreating to their respective bases. Tense situation on the mound here for Brett Scholes. Minnesota Golden Gopher trying to find his way out of a bases-loaded situation. Anything on the ground, like you mentioned, Lyle, could get him out of it. 1-1 the count, 1 away. Bottom of the second inning, looking hairy for the Harbor Hawks. 1-1. Called a strike inside. Count 1-2. Dunn thought about swinging, held up, and regretted it. Still daylight out here at Spillane Field. Hyannis and Wareham doing battle. Game number 40 of the Cape Cod League season for the Harbor Hawks. Scholes to the set. Dunn with a 1-2 count. The pitch. Chopped on and served foul behind home. Goes towards the on-deck circle. Austin Shenton out from the on-deck circle to go pick up the ball. Austin, the reason that these Wareham Gatemen have an early edge, 2-0 on his home run in the first inning. Gatemen have already batted around on the Harbor Hawks. We're still reeling from a 9-2 loss last night, whereas Wareham comes in flying high off of an 11-2 win over the Orleans Firebirds. 1-2 the count, 1 away. Pitch. Called a ball low and away, and the count evens up. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Once again, a bases-loaded situation for Brett Scholes in his first Cape League start. Already down 2-0. Trying to keep the Harbor Hawks within a manageable distance early. Shakes off Pages once. Now the Owl and Golden Gopher come to an agreement, and the 2-2. Cut on and a grounder foul past Matt Miller down the first base coaching box way. Count remains 2-2, and we have a battle early on between these two. Scholes will have to start getting more outs by contact, Lyle. He's already up at 43 pitches in just 2 innings of work. That's not how you stick in a ball game.
He's had a little bit of trouble locating to start, too. 22 strikes to 21 balls.
And now Scholes taking his time, carrying in towards his catcher Pages. Now they agree to something and come to the set. The 2-2, runners go. And it's a ball low and outside, and the count runs full. Nowhere to put Oliver Dunn. Already a 2-0 deficit for the Harbor Hawks on the scoreboard. And another ball will put Hyannis even further behind the 8 ball here at Spillane Field. A healthy crowd has shuffled in to Spillane Field to watch this one. The 3-2 pitch. Cut on and a slow chopper down the first base line. It'll stay fair. Brett Scholes tags the man up the first base line. Coming in to score, Jacob Goldfarb. It's 3-0 Wareham Gateman. But at this point, Lyle, Scholes certainly disposed to sacrifice runs for outs. And with 2 away, it's a 3-0 deficit for Hyannis. But could be worse.
As Schultz trading it out for a run there. The runner from third and Drew Millis taking off right with the ground ball on the dirt. Or should we say on the infield grass, but Brett cutting that ball off, going down the first base line and applying the tag to the runner and done.
Jacob Goldfarb actually advancing over to third base. Thank you, Lyle. Austin Shenton at the left side of the plate now against the righty Scholes. The first pitch. Cut on and a slow roller foul down the first base line. Nice forehand stab by the first base coach Miller. Underhands the ball back towards the Gateman dugout. 0-1 the count, 3-0 the score. Wareham out front on Hyannis. Scholes coming to the set. Goldfarb stutter stepping off at third base. And time called by Shenton at home plate. Austin's 1 for 1 with that big 2-run bomb in the first inning. 2 innings in, this is already his second at bat. Gateman getting to know Brett Scholes early. Runners on second and third now. Bases were loaded just a moment ago. And the 0-1. Called a ball low and inside on the fastball. 1-1 the count. Infield still at double play depth. And with Shenton up at the left side of the plate, Brady Lindsley is creeping over towards the foul line down at first base. Gotten more experience at first base this season than he has in any previous season of baseball experience. Catcher by trade over at Oklahoma. 1-1. Cut on and served high and foul behind home plate. Count now 1-2. And elsewhere, Lindsley never really played much catcher. In high school, he was stuck behind a stud in Shea Langoliers, who's on Team USA this summer. So he played mainly shortstop and third base in high school. Playing first this summer, catcher at OU. And now the 1-2 pitch to Shenton. Cut on and another one hit high in the air out towards left field. Is chasing barefoot back to the wall at the track. He makes the catch, slamming into the fence. And that is the third out of the bottom of the second inning.
Boys and girls, it's time to play the 50-50 raffle this evening.
So on a pair of hits, Wareham plates 1 run and strands 2 men on base. 3-0 now your score. Gateman out front of the Harbor Hawks. We go to the top of the third inning. Top of the order 2 up for the Harbor Hawks. Davis Wenzel, Tommy Jew, and the aforementioned Matthew Barefoot coming up to make a difference at the plate and chop away at a 3-0 deficit here from Spillane Field. Back in mere moments here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Now back to today's voice of the Hawks, Chris Lucey.
Top of the third inning. Tommy Jew and Matthew Barefoot. Davis Wenzel set to lead off here in the top of the third inning. Tommy Jew and Matthew Barefoot to follow. The first pitch. Called a ball low and away. 3-0 your score. Hyannis trailing the Gateman. I'm Chris Lucey here. Zach Hart back out for his third inning of work. He's made quick work of the Harbor Hawks early on today. The 1-0 to Wenzel. cut on and nicked foul off the catcher. Drew Millis behind home plate making the calls. Home plate umpire giving Millis a little bit of time just to catch his breath after taking one off the shoulder pad. Davis Wenzel 0 for 1 today as the home plate umpire now returns to his spot behind the dish. Everybody where they should be. 1-1 the count and the pitch. Called a ball low and inside. Count now 2-1. So if you couldn't already tell just by looking at Davis Wenzel, his favorite player is Justin Turner. They both rock similar hair and facial hairstyles as the 2-1 is cut on and grounded over to shortstop. Greidler fields forehand, throws across the diamond, and gets the speedster Wenzel for out number 1 here in the top of the 3rd inning. 6-3 putout starts things off in your scorebook. 1 away in the top of the 3rd inning. Tommy Jew now coming up to the plate. Center fielder out of UCSB. 0 for 1 today. Davis Wenzel dropping to 0 for 2 on the game today. Strikeout and a groundout. And Zach Hart in a groove early on here from Spillane Field. Righty-righty matchup and the pitch. Called a strike. Count 0-1. Fastball low and away. 35 pitches on the evening so far for Hart. 23 of them strikes. 0-1 the count. And the next pitch to Jew. Another strike. That one high and outside. Painting the black. Count 0-2 on the UCSB Gaucho. Tommy grounded out 4-3 in his first trip to the plate. Struck out 23 times on the season, and the next pitch he sees is cut on and fisted high in the air out towards left field. Jacob Goldfarb out of Oregon, though, making the play right where he stands. Didn't have to move an inch to catch the ball. And quickly 2 up and 2 down in the top of the 3rd inning. Matthew Barefoot coming up to the right side of the plate now. Down the same baseline as one Mr. Austin Shenton. 2 guys you just can't help but compare, considering the starts that they got off to. The pitch. Called a ball low and away. Matthew Barefoot ahead in the count early. Left fielder out of Campbell. No plate appearances yet on the day. Hit by a pitch in his first plate appearance. Now the 1-0. Called a ball low and away off the dirt. Nice pick by Millis. Count 2-0. Shen and Barefoot were battling for the top spot in batting average on the Cape League so far, or earlier in the season, excuse me. The 2-0. Called a strike over the outer half. Count now 2-1. Shen had the lead early on, but faded away while Matthew Barefoot just stayed strong, and now Barefoot leads by almost 30 points. The 2-1. Hits Matt Barefoot again, that one coming off of his hand, and he has to trot down the 3rd baseline to shake it off. And he goes over to Chad Gassman to let his coach have a look at it. Actually, more just walking towards Chad Gassman because he needed a little bit of time to walk it off. Barefoot, not someone really to express too much of their pain, so certainly noteworthy, although Matt looks like he's okay. And back to the comparison with him and Shenton. Shenton coming into this game batting .348. Matthew, .377. So almost a 30-point gulf opened up between the 2 of them around the middle of the season, because from Austin Shenton's last day above 400, he's batted .283 since, 15 for 53. And 14 strikeouts over that trip, as now Matthew Barefoot will come out of the game. Trevor Hopper into pinch run for him. So 2 hit by pitches for Matthew Barefoot. And now Trevor Hopper moving over that 90 feet for him. And just to wrap up on Austin Shenton and Matthew Barefoot, it's a quiet confidence about the both of them that really got them off to such a hot start. Neither coming in with too much fanfare. Matthew Barefoot out of Campbell in the Big South Conference, and then Shenton out of FIU in the CUSA. Both great conferences, but still not with the same cachet as the ACC or SEC, nor the Pac-12. But both still very confident in their abilities, and they have all the reason in the world to be. Both all-stars this year. And now Seth Gray comes up to the left side of the plate. The pitch. Called a ball from the righty. Zach Hart still out there, runner on first base. 2 away here in the top of the 3rd inning. 2 quick outs to start this, then Matthew Barefoot hit by a pitch and then removed for a pinch runner. Trevor Hauver over there taking a 2-step lead off first, and the next pitch hacked on, served in on Seth Gray's hands, and pushed foul down the right field line. 1-1 the count on Seth. 0 for his last 12, trying to break out of a little mini skid. Infield at double play depth, looking for something to the easiest base. Hart to the set. The 1-1. Called a ball low and inside. Count 2-1 on Seth. Seth with 23 punch-outs compared to only 13 walks on the Cape League season. Trying to improve his plate discipline. The 2-1. Cut on and a high fly out down the left field line. That one getting out of play in a hurry. Austin Shenton tracking of it, but even he can't make that play. He made an E5 on Seth Gray's first at bat. That error pushing Seth a free 90 feet down to first base. Also got Matthew Barefoot over to third, but runners were stranded on the corners in that inning. First of 3 runners stranded on base for Hyannis today. Trevor Hauver trying to avoid being the 4th as he stands at first base with a nice, sizable lead held on by Lyle Lockhart. 2-2 the count and the pitch. Another high fly, that one more playable for Lyle Lockhart down the right field line. First baseman fighting off the sun, makes the catch, and maintains a 3-0 edge for the Gatemen. So no hits, no runs, no errors. 1 man left on base. Hyannis in 3 innings has stranded 3 men on base. And now we go to the bottom of the 3rd. Jeremy Idens, Paven Parks, and Lyle Lockhart 2 up for Wareham. When we get back on the Hyannis Harborhawks Digital Network, don't go anywhere. The Harborhawks looking to battle their way back from a 3-0 deficit.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
You're listening to the Hyannis Harborhawks on the Hyannis Harborhawks Digital Network. Now back to today's voice of the Hawks, Chris Lucey.
Welcome back here on the Hyannis Harborhawks Digital Network. Jeremy Idens, Paven Parks, and Lyle Lockhart, the 4, 5, and 6 hitters for the Gatemen, due up to try and build a 3-0 edge on your Hyannis Harborhawks. Brett Shull is back out for inning number 3 of work. Minnesota Golden Gopher, in his first start of the season, deals the first pitch to the UCLA Bruin. High in sight for a ball. Kreidler at the right side of the plate, or Idens, excuse me, at the right side of the plate. 0 for 1 today. Flew out to right field in his first at-bat. The 1-0 pitch. Hacked on and cranked out towards center field. This one's tracking Tommy Jew back to the wall. He looks up and at the track makes the grab for out number 1. Tommy Jew making a tough running catch look easy as pie in left center field. 1 away here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. I mean, you really can't say enough about Tommy Jew, the converted infielder from the University of California at Santa Barbara. Started his high school career and played most of his life at shortstop, but after reaching a log-jammed infield out for the Gauchos, was moved to the outfield and has thrived there for the Harborhawks this summer. Paven Parks at the left side of the plate, takes ball 1 over the outer half. Shull's behind in the count 1-0, but 1 away here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. 3-0 the score, Wareham out front. Scholes taking his time on the mound. Base is clear. Infield playing back, the 1-0. Looping, breaking ball, high and outside, count 2-0. Outfield playing back. They were back on the previous play as well, which helped Tommy Jew track down that long fly from Jeremy Hyannis. Hyannis no stranger to robbing hits, though. The 2-0 pitch. Cut on and nicked foul. That one gets into the chain link fence behind home plate. 2-1 as the ball actually hangs up inside one of the pegs on that chain link fence. Try doing that another time. Probably not going to happen. Scholes to the 2-1 set. The pitch. Bouncer off home plate. Pedro Pages chests it up and flips it back to the Minnesota Golden Gopher. 3-1 now the count. 3-0 your score. Bottom of the third inning. Harbor Hawks have yet to yield a clean sheet on the defensive side and have yet to put up a run on their side either. The 3-1. Cut on and a high pop-up towards the broadcast booth down the third base line. Seth Gray calls everybody off, and the third baseman making the catch. 2 away here in the bottom of the third. Lyle Lockhart coming up to the plate now. The big bopper yesterday, 2 for 5 with 4 RBIs and a grand slam in the first inning. Lockhart doing himself plenty of favors with that at-bat and that game as a whole, raising his average from 154 on the season to 207 in just one night. Grounded out 6-3 in his first at-bat. Pavin Parks now down to 1 for 2. And a ball low and outside gets the confrontation started between Lockhart and Scholes on the mound. Golden Gopher sets the 1-0 to the Houston Cougar. The pitch, called a strike inside on the fastball. 1-1 the count, and this is the bounce-back inning that Brett Scholes needed. Approaching 60 pitches. The 1-1, called a ball high and outside. Was in the mid-40s in pitches very early in this game. A game where Hyannis really needs him to stretch things out. The Harbor Hawks needed to use 5 arms out of their bullpen yesterday. The 2-1. Called a ball low and inside. Count now 3-1. 3-0 the score. 2 away here in the bottom of the third. 3-1 the count. Base is empty. Everybody playing back. Infielders, outfielders alike. Lindsley shaded up the line down first base. The 3-1. Cut on and a foul tip into Page's glove for strike 2. And the count runs full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Scholes looking for his first 1-2-3 inning and at that first clean sheet of the game. He's thrown 61 pitches, 31 for strikes. Pitch number 62. Ball 4. So Lyle Lockhart works a 2-out walk. Lyle now still 0 for 1 with that walk. Drew Millis coming to the plate. Today's catcher out of Missouri State, taking his time taking off his lower shin guards. Most catchers will wait until they absolutely have to take off the shin guards, even taking swings in the on-deck circle with them on, just to speed up the process where they have to put all their gear back on between innings. Millis, however, unable to avoid that unenviable task in this frame. Runner on first base, 2 away. Lockhart shimmying off the bag, and the first pitch from Scholes, a strike inside. That slurve, a thing of beauty on the inner half of the plate. One of 3 offerings from Scholes, amongst them a fastball and a changeup. 0-1 the count. 3-0 the score. Wareham out front, scoring a 2 spot in the first and a 1 spot in the second. Bottom of the third we are here. 0-1. And the pitch is a ball low and away. A changeup from Scholes, just missing. And the count even at a ball and a strike. Infielders playing way back. Trevor Hauver out in right field now. Coming in for not Trevor Hauver, but for Matthew Barefoot as the next pitch is cut on and fouled up high in the air behind home plate. Pedro Pages has a beat on it, and the catcher makes the play for out number 3. And that is 4 men up and 3 men down for Brett Scholes. A 2-out walk wasted for the Wareham Gatemen, who are unable to grow their 3-0 lead for the first time in the game. 1 man left on base on no hits, no errors, 1 walk. And the Harbor Hawks go to the top of the 4th inning, looking to chip away at that 3-0 deficit with a little bit more confidence than the previous frame. The aforementioned Pedro Pages, Todd Lott, and Eric Rivera do up the 5, 6, and 7 hitters for the Harbor Hawks when we get back on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Don't go anywhere.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Now back to today's voices of the Hawks, Chris Lucey and Lyle Goldstein.
3-0 the score here from Spillane Field. Pedro Pages, Todd Lott, and Eric Rivera do up the 5, 6, and 7 hitters for the Harbor Hawks, starting things off in the top of the 4th. Alongside Lyle Goldstein, I'm Chris Lucey. Pages at the right side of the plate against the righty Zach Hart out of Franklin Pierce. The first pitch, called a strike over the outer half. 0-1 the count on the Florida Atlantic University Owl. The 0-1 from Hart. Cut on and served down the left field line. That one tracking Goldfarb over towards the right, or the left center field gap, excuse me. He makes the play. And there's one away here in the top of the 4th. Hyannis able to throw up its first clean sheet of the game in the previous bottom half of the 3rd inning. And now the Harbor Hawks looking to avoid their 4th consecutive clean sheet of this game. Still being shut out, 3-0 the score between them and their divisional rivals, the Gatemen. Todd Lott at the plate now. Pedro's 0 for 2. And Todd Lott swings and misses at the first pitch. 0-1 the count. Todd at the right side of the plate. 0 for 1 today with another strikeout. That one coming in the top of the 2nd. Infield, outfield playing back, and the pitch. Breaking ball high and outside. 1-1 the count. Hart to a high set. And the 1-1. Cut on and golf foul behind home. Todd Lott just missing that one. 1-2 the count. Hart to the set again. The 1-2 pitch. Cut on and a worm burner over to Shenton at third base. He gloves it, throws across the diamond, and makes the play for out number 2 here in the top of the 4th inning. 5-3 the ground out, and Shenton rebounding from an error in the 1st inning quite nicely. 2 away here in the top of the 4th, and Rivera coming up to the plate. You could say you have 2 Florida guys standing 90 feet away from each other right now, but Shenton, actually a product of your home state in Washington, playing his college ball at Florida International after a year in community college. The pitch, called a strike over the outer half. 0-1 the count on Eric. Rivera 0 for 1 today with a ground out to second base in the top of the 2nd inning. Shenton transferring out of junior college to Florida International to help his draft stock, though, the 0-1. Called a ball inside, count 1-1. Shenton's known from early on in his career that his professional aspirations were something that were well within reach. The 1-1 pitch. Called a ball low and away, count 2-1. So after a season at community college, he learned that a former coach of his was going to become the hitting coach at Florida International and was a fan of the guy and wanted to follow him down to sunny Florida, the 2-1. Called a ball high and outside. Count now 3-1. And the move has worked out for Shenton, to say the least. He has really just put on a show in the Cape League this season. The 3-1. Called ball 4. Eric Rivera works a walk. 2 away here in the top of the 4th. 3-0 the score. Hyannis trailing the Gatemen, but Eric Rivera trying to pump a little bit of life into a Harbor Hawks offense that has not had much to speak of today.
No hits so far for Hyannis, but 4 free passes. That's the second walk of the day for the right-hander in Hart. That one coming to Rivera with 2 outs as he makes his way down to first.
Brady Lindsley, a recipient of one of those free passes, had a walk in the second inning. He's at the left side of the plate against Hart. Zach has cruised through this Harbor Hawks order outside of those free passes. Infield out, double play depth with Rivera on second. He takes the lead and the pitch. Called a ball high inside. Millis dropping the ball behind home plate, but quickly getting it back to his righty. Middle infielder scooching towards that second base bag. Shenton playing back at third base. Lockhart holding on Rivera at second. 1-0. Cut on and a grounder up the right side and past the outstretched glove of Dunn and into right field for a base knock. Rivera around second, going to third. The throw's in front of him. The tag from Shenton in time to get him. And Brady Lindsley's single wasted as Eric Rivera, trying to take third base, is unable to beat the throw from Idens. And that ends the top of the 4th inning. 1 hit, 1 man left on base is Brady Lindsley. Eric Rivera thrown out at third base to end things and bring the Wareham Gatemen to the plate in the bottom of the 4th inning, where Ryan Kreidler, Jacob Goldfarb, and Isaac Collins are due up for Wareham to try and extend a 3-0 edge here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Don't go anywhere.
Magic Works Media copyright.
You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Now back to today's voice of the Hawks, Chris Lucey.
Ryan Kreidler, Jacob Goldfarb, and Isaac Collins due up for the Wareham Gatemen, trying to extend a 3-0 edge over the Harbor Hawks here from Spillane Field in Wareham. Game number 40 of the season for the Harbor Hawks. Not going as Harbor Hawks fans hoped early on. Hyannis only able to muster 1 hit over the first 4 frames of baseball. Now Ryan Kreidler at the right side of the dish. Brett Schull still on the mound, and the pitch. Cut on and fisted high in the air out towards right center field, tracking Hoover back to the wall, and it dunks in just over the wall for a solo home run to lead things off here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Ryan Kreidler touches them all. Wareham goes out front 4-0. And Lyle, that ball just barely getting over the wall.
Well, we've seen Kreidler show some good opposite field power this season. Back in the first game here at Spillane Field, he hit that 3 RBI double to that same spot, but crushed that one just a little bit farther, getting over the fence by a couple of feet, right under the scoreboard in right center field. And Kreidler continuing to stay hot against these Harbor Hawks.
I mean, we saw the right fielder in Trevor Hoover make a nice line out to the ball. Jacob Goldfarb, 1 for 1 on the day, takes ball 1, standing in the left-handed batter's box against the righty Schulz, trying to regroup. The 1-0 pitch. Jackknifes him, almost hits him. Has to lean back, take the ball, 2-0 the count. on the fastball inside. I mean, Hauber taking a nice route out to the baseball. Looked like he had a beat on it almost, but it just had enough air under it. The 2-0. Cut on and nicked foul down the first base line. 2-1 the count. And it's not like we haven't seen Trevor Hauber come close to robbing some home runs this year. Saw him have one bounce just off of his glove at McKeon Park earlier in the season. And he said he could taste the ball. It was so close on that play. The 2-1. Breaking ball for a ball low and away. 3-1 the count. Goldfarb again 1 for 1 on the day with a hit. Had a single in the bottom of the second inning. Now the 3-1 pitch. Cut on and another chopper out towards right center field. It dinks in front of Juan Hauber for another base knock. Goldfarb out for a 2-for-2 day. Nobody down here in the bottom of the fourth inning. 2 hits, 1 run already across the board. Goldfarb scoring up around first base with his second single of the evening. Isaac Collins now back up to the plate. Boyhood friend of Brett Scholl's. He's walked and been hit by a pitch. Has yet to get the ultimate bragging right off of his childhood buddy. A hit. One right now could mean bad things for Hyannis. Already down 4-0. He's at the left side of the plate. The righty Scholl's deals. Fastball for a strike. Right down Broadway. 0-1 the count on today's right fielder. Four 0 your score. Runner on first base. Nobody away here in the bottom of the fourth. Isaac Collins, a well-respected athlete down in the land of 1,000 lakes in Minnesota. Scholl's throws over to first base. In his senior year of high school, Collins was the first man to be nominated for both Mr. Baseball and Mr. Football in the state of Minnesota since a very well-known figure. Via 1 pitch. Called a ball low and away. Count now 1-1. Lyle, you knowing baseball and football pretty well as well, you can figure that man was none other than the Minnesota Twins legend Joe Mauer. He was elected Mr. Baseball and Mr. Football that year, as now Ron Polk has come out of the dugout to have a word with the third base umpire. He's quite upset. The defensive guru from Mississippi State out in a hurry, both the third and first base umpires out to try and defend him from the home plate umpire. Not sure what he's too angry about there, Lyle. Did you get a good look?
No, I'm not exactly sure. Maybe we'll get a better glimpse of it in a minute, but he still seems pretty frustrated right in the ear of a couple of the different umpires. He's trying to get around one of the field umpires to talk to the man behind home plate, but they're blocking him just in front of the third baseline.
Well, Polk able to solicit a smile from one of them, both of them protecting him from the home plate umpire, because, I mean, you have to imagine they know who they're talking to right now. A god among men to some in Ron Polk. Godfather or grandfather of SEC baseball, one of the most respected conferences in college baseball, as now Polk makes his way back towards the third base dugout. I don't think any of these guys really want to see Polk get ejected from this game, considering all that he's done for the game of baseball.
No, and I think he was frustrated, but I don't think he stepped over the line either. And, of course, the point you mentioned about him spending so much time down with the Bulldogs at Mississippi State. But things starting to settle down here. Pedro Page is out to the mound to talk to Brett Schultz. Oh, and how about that? They did toss him.
Well, that is it. Ron Polk takes his black briefcase out of the dugout, and as mysteriously as he entered this game, he leaves. Ron Polk, a man of few words, having plenty to say for a change to the umpiring crew and a little bit too much for their liking. He's tossed from this baseball game, and now play will resume as normal. Isaac Collins still at the plate, a 1-1 count. Nobody down here in the bottom of the fourth inning as Ron Polk just rides off into the sunset. A legend in the game of baseball, 4-0 your score. And back to the game we get. Isaac Collins. And the next pitch from Schultz. Cut on and lined up the middle, past the outstretched glove of Taylor Garris into center field for a base hit. Coming around second base, Goldfarb stops up at third. Isaac Collins secures bragging rights over his buddy Brett Schultz. They've known each other since they were 12, and Collins has reached base 3 times on the fellow Maple Grove, Minnesota native. A walk, a hit by pitch, and now a nobody out single in the bottom of the 4th inning. Advancing Goldfarb over to third as well. This starting to develop into a long inning for Hyannis, Lyle, as a home run already hit by Ryan Kreidler, and now runners on the corners. Still nobody out, and a little bit of life starting up in the Harbor Hawks bullpen down the left field line.
It looks like it's Mike Mockma getting loose down there, the right-hander out of Michigan State.
Schultz now sets and deals a pitch to Oliver Dunn. That is cut on and fouled off. 0-1 the count on the second baseman out of Utah. He's 0 for 1 today with a walk. One of the RBIs driven in by Austin Shenton's 2-run blast in the bottom of the first. Those were the first 2 runs of this game. And since the Gatemen have tacked on 2 more, those coming on 2 more hits and also a home run. Make that 3 hits after that bomb from Austin Shenton. Schultz now to the set. 0-1 the count on Dunn. Runners on the corners. Nobody down here in the bottom of the 4th, and the pitch. A ball high and outside. Breaking ball, missing the spot. And the count's 1-1. Sunlight's starting to fade here at Spillane Field, but no lights coming on just yet. A lovely day for baseball here in Cape Cod. And the 1-1. Hacked on and missed at a nasty off-speed pitch. And the count's 1-2. Oliver Dunn completely fooled by that one. Oliver Dunn's had a big couple of days. Logjam for most of the season behind Cal State Fullerton middle infielder Sahid Valenzuela. He's gotten the chance to get some everyday playing time over the last couple of days and made the most of it yesterday, to say the least. 1-2 the count. Schultz to the set. Runners on first and third. And the pitch. Cut in on the hands and serve foul down the left field line. Eric Rivera doing his darndest to get over to it, but it's way out of play. Eric, of course, being moved over to left field after Matthew Barefoot was removed from the game. Trevor Hopper replacing him over in right, as we mentioned the defensive change earlier. 1-2 the count. Middle infielders shaded up the middle. All the outfielders playing pretty far back. Everyone off the lines except for Rivera over in left, who's creeping towards it. The pitch. And the 1-2 misses just high and outside for ball 2. Beautiful blue sky as well from Spillane Field. About as big a crowd as we've seen down here at Wareham all season, too. On hand to possibly watch their Gatemen take the Western Division crown in a de facto way, at least. 2-2 has to wait for a snap throw back over to first. Brett Schultz keeping an eye on his childhood friend Isaac Collins. 2 natives of Maple Grove, Minnesota. Doing their hometown proud, coming all the way out here to Cape Cod to play amongst the best collegiate players in the country. Now the 2-2 pitch. Here it comes. Hacked on and missed for strike 3. Pedro Pages holds on, and that is the first out of the bottom of the 4th inning. And a much-needed strikeout right there for Brett Schultz, who kind of regresses back to his old style. Not really getting a lot of outs by contact as a reliever, but getting a lot of guys by way of the K.
Yeah, that's just his first strikeout of the day, so maybe he's starting to find a little bit of groove. He really got done chasing that one, starting from top to bottom with that breaking ball. He finds himself with 1 out here in the 4th.
Austin Shenton at the left side of the plate against the righty. Runners on first and third, 1 away. The pitch. Hacked on and served back up the middle, through for a base hit. Jacob Goldfarb scores easily, and Isaac Collins stops at second base. That's another RBI knock for Austin Shenton. Chalk him up for 3 RBIs on the game and put the Wareham Gatemen up 5-0 in this contest here from Spillane Field.
And I think he knows he's been in a little bit of a slump, and he's breaking out of it today. 2 for 3, a 2-run shot, an RBI single. And the one time he made out, it might have been a harder hit ball than the one he just produced right there. It sent Matthew Barefoot all the way back to the warning track. But Austin Shenton seeing the ball incredibly well today, going right after that first pitch from Brett Schultz and taking it right back up the middle.
And now Chad Gassman out to the mound to remove Brett Schultz. Long day for Schultz, to say the least. After 80 pitches, he is taken out of this ball game and replaced with Mike Mockma. We'll take a quick pause here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network, but coming back, we'll have the final line on Schultz, a little bit on Mike Mockma, and the conclusion of this inning. Bear with us. We'll be right back on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network Your Hawks now trail 5-0.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
After 3 1/3 innings pitched from Brett Schultz, his day is done. The Minnesota Golden Gopher only able to last 3 1/3 innings, 1 strikeout, 3 walks, 5 earned runs to his tab in that time. The men on first and second still his responsibility. He gives way to another Big Ten product in Michigan State's Mike Mockma. The righty comes in to face Jeremy Idens with runners on first and second. A 5-0 deficit in his lap right now. Wareham out front big. Idens trying to grow that lead for his ball club. He's 0 for 2 today, though. He stands at the right side of the plate and puts a charge into the first ball he sees, cranking it out towards right center field. Tommy Jew and Harver converging on the ball, and the right fielder Harver making the catch on the run, relaying the ball in quickly to keep everybody on their bases. And Trevor Harver flashing the leather right there. A nice route to the ball and a big out for the Harbor Hawks, who now have 2 down here in the bottom of the 4th.
He had to move a long way, playing way over in right field, off toward his right and into the gap in right center. Pretty much aligned with where the scoreboard was, with him and Tommy Jew getting pretty close, but communication key, and Harver taking charge to put that one away.
Harver looking more and more comfortable in right field as the season wears on. A right fielder by trade down at Arizona State, but started his career playing the infield, much like Tommy Jew. Haven Parks now at the left side of the plate, 1 for 2 today. Jeremy Idens now 0 for 3. The pitch, called a ball low and away. We'll reset the infield for you right now. Runners on first and second base. Austin Shenton on first, Isaac Collins on second. Shenton's RBI single got him to first, advanced Collins over to second, and put the 5th run of the board on the game for the Gatemen, who lead Hyannis by a score of 5-0. 1-0 the count. Mockma to the set in his first inning of work. The 1-0. Cut on and roped down the right field line and through for a base hit. Collins rounds third base. He's going to come in to score easily. The throw way behind him. Cut off by Mike Mockma in the middle infield. Austin Shenton over to third base, and down at first, Haven Parks with a 2-out RBI single, bringing the Wareham Gatemen out front 6-0 here in the bottom of the 4th.
And Mike Mockman giving up back-to-back balls of really, really solid contact. The first one Harver tracked down, but that one past Taylor. Gareth moving to his left at second base. And 2 hits on the day now for Haven Parks, both of them being singles.
Well, Mike Mockman's had trouble with the Wareham Gatemen. He let up 8 earned runs in 2 games against the Gatemen coming into this contest. And now he's let up a few more. Deals to Lyle Lockhart, lone inside. Count now 1-0. That run to Isaac Collins actually coming on the bill of Brett Schultz. He has now 6 earned runs on his bill for today. 1-0 now the count and the pitch. Called a strike over the outer half of the plate. Lyle Lockhart having the count even now at a ball and a strike. The Houston Cougar 0 for 1 today with a walk and a ground out. Runners on first and third, 2 away in the bottom of the 4th, 6-0. Wareham leads Hyannis. Machma to the set and the 1-1. Called a strike low and inside. Count 1-2. It's been a wild inning here. We've seen 3 more runs come to the plate for the Gatemen, and we've seen a Harbor Hawks coach get tossed. Mike Machma trying to guide this inning to a conclusion. We'll see if he can do it. He's a strike away. The pitch. Bouncer. Pages with a nice block behind home, keeping everybody on their bases. 2-2 now the count. Runners on first and third. Lockhart, someone everybody has to be careful about. Sent a ball out down the left field line for a grand slam against the Orleans Firebirds yesterday. Caught himself a hooking slider and sent it yard. He was waiting on it too. Most everyone in this league sitting fastball, but in that at bat, after a couple fastballs missed on the previous hitter, he knew the slider was the only thing the pitcher had for strikes, so he waited on it. The 2-2. Cut on in on his hands, served foul down the third base line into the stands. A couple of fans making a play for the baseball. Little ones, 2 of them wearing Tom Brady jerseys. Count stays 2-2. Again, a nice crowd on hand here at Wareham. Everybody knows what's at stake here. The Gatemen can really put their foot down and not necessarily clinch the Western Division with this win, but pretty much put it out of reach here at Spillane Field, advancing their lead to 3 points as the 2-2 is cut on and blocked by Mike Machma on the mound, grounded right back up at him, but he hip checks it, knocks it down, throws it over to Brady Lindsley, and there goes the inning. 3 more runs come for the Wareham Gatemen. 5 hits in this inning. 2 men left on base. And now the Harbor Hawks come for the top of the 5th inning, trying to come back from a 6-0 deficit. Taylor Garris, Davis Wenzel, and Tommy Jude due up. When we get back on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network, don't go anywhere.
Magic Media copyright.
Back here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network, I'm Robert Marcello. A quick around the league scores currently in the bottom of the 7th. The Whitey Red Sox are beating the Harwich Mariners 7-1. It is tied 3-3 in Brewster against the Orleans Firebirds in the bottom of the 7th. In the top of the 5th, it is 6-0 Wareham. In the top of the 4th inning, the Cotuit Kettleers are up against the Bourne Braves 1-0, and yet to start in Chatham against the Falmouth Commodores. I'm going to send it to a quick break, and then after that, you'll hear Chris, Lucey, and Lyle Goldstein on the call.
In combination with the Hyannis Harbor Hawks and Ocean Street Studios comes a brand new show bringing you everything Harbor Hawk. This is Birds the Word, a comprehensive new way to engage with your favorite summer ball team. I'm your host, Harrison Myers, and every Thursday until the end of the 2018 Cape League season, we'll bring you everything Harbor Hawk. Interviews with players and coaches, behind-the-scenes tours, and stories you may not have heard about. Make sure you subscribe today so you don't miss any of the action.
Thank you so much, Harrison. Back on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network with Lyle Goldstein. I'm Chris Lucey. 6-0 the score. Wareham out front. Taylor Garris leading off things in the top of the 5th inning. And the first pitch from Zach Hart. Called a ball low and away. The righty out of Franklin Pierce out for inning number 5 of work. He's been cutting through this Harbor Hawks order like a hot knife through butter. Righty on the mound. Righty at the plate. The 1-0. Called a strike low and away. 1-1 the count. Hyannis only recording its first hit of the game in the previous frame. And Brady Lindsley stranded on base after Eric Rivera was thrown out trying to steal third. The 1-1 pitch. Called a strike low and away. Not to be misleading. Lindsley got the single. Rivera, trying to go from first to third, was thrown out from right field. A nice play from Isaac Collins down the right field line. The 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball for strike 3 called over the outer half. Taylor Garris can't believe it. He's 0 for 2 on the day now. And the top of the 5th inning starts with a looking strikeout. Harbor Hawks having trouble getting their offense going, down 6-0 here from Spillane Field. Davis Wenzel up to the plate now. Also a strikeout victim today. He's 0 for 2. He's at the right side of the plate. The righty Hart from the windup deals. A pitch that's slapped on and served foul. out of play down the right field line. 0-1 the count. And Lyle, runners left on base, oddly enough, even when Hyannis isn't really scoring, still a problem for the Harbor Hawks. They've stranded 5 through 5 innings as the 0-1 is cut on and chopped up the middle. Second baseman Dunn coming over towards second base to try and make a play. He airmails the throw, and Davis Wenzel is safe at first base with an infield hit. So there's hit number 2 on the day for the Harbor Hawks. First one for Davis Wenzel. And with 1 man down in the top of the 5th inning, the Harbor Hawks offense is in business.
Well, that one taking Oliver Dunn way to his right and in the hole up the middle and behind the bag at second. Wenzel with his speed, rushing the throw from Dunn. It would have been a tough play anyway, but Wenzel reaches with the second hit of the day for Hyannis.
Looked more like Ryan Kreidler's ball, if anything else, but Kreidler just playing a little bit more back. Didn't take quite as good of a line towards it as Dunn did. Tommy Jew at the right side of the plate now looking for his first hit of the day. He's 0 for 2. The pitch, cut on and nicked foul from the righty on the mound. Infielders at double play depth now. Lyle Lockhart holding on Davis Wenzel at first base. Outfielders pretty much straight away, not too deep. Not too shallow either. They know what Tommy Jew is capable of. The 0-1 pitch. Cut on and grounded right over to Dunn. He relays onto the shortstop Kreidler for 1. On to first. The split from Lockhart gets the 4-6-3 double play to end the threat here in the top of the 5th inning.
That double play is brought to you by TM Reiner Insurance Agency.
Nobody left on base. 1 hit. That hit wasted off the 4-6-3 double play, and then the great stretch by the first baseman out of Houston. And the Harbor Hawks go into the bottom of the 5th inning down 6-0. And Drew Millis, Ryan Kreidler, and Jacob Goldfarb due up to try and grow the lead for the Wareham Gatemen here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Lyle Goldstein will come back to you with play-by-play in just a minute here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Don't go anywhere.
Magic Works Media copyright.
Bottom half of the 5th set to get underway here at Spillane Field. Harbor Hawks trailing the Gatemen by a score of 6-0. Gatemen, meanwhile, set to bring up their bottom third of the order here in the bottom of the 5th. Leading things off, the Missouri State catcher in Drew Millis. Switch hitter from Missouri State at the left side with the right-hander Makma on the mound. He works from the right side and in the windup. First pitch is a called strike. Drew Millis is 1 for 2 today. Singled and scored and then popped out to the catcher to end things in the 3rd. Makma gets his sign. The right-hander kicks and deals a fastball in. 1 ball and 1 strike. Infield back. Nobody on and nobody out. Now Makma rocks and fires the next pitch, and off speed, and it's a called strike right at the letters. Pedro Page is looking over toward the Hyannis dugout. Converging with one of the coaches. Now Makma ready to go. The next pitch, swinging a fly ball into shallow center field. Tommy Jew coasting in, settling under it, and makes the grab on the run for the first out.
Nice casual little backhand flip to Taylor Garris into the infield, too. Harbor Hawks going around the horn right now. Tommy Jew just makes it look so easy. And that has paid dividends for the Harbor Hawks this year, who, after kind of having a revolving door in center field before he got here, have pretty much just relied solely on him to cover all that ground. And he's done a great job, too.
The new hitter and Ryan Kreidler digs in. fresh off a solo home run back in the bottom of the fourth. Machma's first pitch is a fastball right at the knees for strike one. Ryan Kreidler 1 for 2 on the day with that long ball and has now homered in back-to-back games. Sent one out yesterday in an 11-2 win over the Orleans Firebirds. Watches an off-speed pitch, missed low and away to even the count.
Yeah, you can tell the confidence built in an 11-2 beatdown yesterday still is reigning supreme down here in Wareham.
Machma from the windup, right-hander kicks and deals, swinging a foul behind home. Gets a new ball and steps off the mound. Machma came in after 3 1/3 innings from Brett Schultz, Michigan State right-hander. One of the first 2 hitters, should say. RBI single, that coming from Paven Parks. Next pitch to Kreidler is in the dirt, getting under the glove of Pedro Pages to level the count at 2-2. Parks came through with that RBI single. However, that run wasn't credited to Mike Machma, as he's currently thrown an inning total with 1 hit. Now he's ready with the 2-2 offering. Swinging a chopper foul over to the Harbor Hawks dugout on the third base side. He'll get another new ball as Kreidler steps out. Wiggles his bat a couple of times, once toward the mound. Adjusts his belt and gets into that batting stance, feet spread wide over shoulder width apart. Swings and chops another one foul behind home. You'll see a lot of hitters, or a majority of hitters, put their feet shoulder width apart. Some like to have a foot in front of the other as a timing thing and to make sure they stay straight to the ball. But Kreidler, starting at the back of the box and his feet spread way apart. That left foot all the way out in front of home plate. Takes a fastball up high as the count moves to full. On deck, Jacob Goldfarb, the Oregon left fielder. Kreidler with 1 out. Looking to be the first man aboard for the Gatemen in the 5th. Machma ready, the 3-2 on the way, swinging a ground ball foul right behind home, just getting a piece of it off the end of the bat. Kreidler steps out again to adjust his gloves, kicks his feet up a couple of times. Both the Harbor Hawks and Gatemen have already secured playoff spots in the Western Division. Hyannis trailing the Gatemen by 2 points. 3-2 on the way, called strike 3 on a breaking ball, and Kreidler is sent down for the second time tonight, and Mike Machma records his first strikeout of his outing.
I mean, home run or no home run, Kreidler still livid at the call from the home plate umpire. Been a tough night for him. He's definitely come under a little bit of scrutiny from the coaching staff and the players today on both sides. So 2 away here for Machma.
Now Machma seeing the Oregon ducking Goldfarb for the first time. Throws a fastball way high. Pedro Pages brings it down for ball 1. Goldfarb came into this day 1 for his last 11 and hitting just a $125 here at Spillane Field. But so far today, 2 for 2 with a pair of singles. Takes a fastball low and away. It's been an up and down summer for Goldfarb, to say the least. He started his 2018 campaign out at Lowell Park for the Cotuit Kettleers, and now out here with the Wareham Gatemen. Takes a ball just away for a 3-0 count.
Well, I mean, tough to always move teams, but you can say he's traded up. I mean, Cotuit with 41 points, they lag well behind the Wareham Gatemen in 4th place, while Wareham's in 1st in the West.
Now the right-hander ready, the 3-0 offering, called strike on a fastball, and Machma stays alive in this count, 3-1 with 2 outs. Gatemen still up 6-0, looking to secure that lead and move to a 4-point margin over the Hyannis Ball Club. 3-1 from Machma, misses downstairs for ball 4, a 2-out walk issued to Jacob Goldfarb, who reaches for the 3rd time tonight. That'll turn the lineup over for Isaac Collins, the right fielder out of Creighton.
Next round through the order will be the 4th time everyone in the Gateman order has batted around. This has been a long one for the Harbor Hawks.
Left-handed hitter in Collins set to square up with Machma, who now works from the stretch. First pitch, a fastball upstairs. Collins has also reached 3 times today. A walk, a hit by pitch, and a single, which he later scored on. Collins can also play some middle infield. He's seen some time at second base this summer. But out in right field today with Oliver Dunn over at the two bag. Swinging a ground ball through the right side and past Brady Lindsley for a base hit. Goldfarb rounding second, making the turn to third. The throw is cut off by Wenzel. Sliding in safely is Goldfarb. And the leadoff hitter in Isaac Collins picks up his second hit of the day to put runners on the corners with 2 out.
What a day for Collins. I mean, securing bragging rights over his old buddy Brett Scholes, and how about reaching base 4 times, 2 by walk and a hit by a pitch, and then 2 base knocks, coming around to score as well. It's been a busy day for the right fielder out of Creighton, to say the least.
Every Gateman hitter, with the exception of Jeremy Idens, has reached base today. And now another left-handed hitter in Oliver Dunn steps in. Swings and fouls the first pitch out of play. Gateman up 6-0 here. Seth Gray playing a little bit off the line at third. Everybody else back. Lindsley holding on the runner in Collins at first. Machma the stretch, and the 0-1 pitch. Fastball runs inside as the count levels. 1-1 to the hitter in Dunn. Oliver hit .319 in his sophomore campaign. Out for Utah, 17 extra base hits. And now the 1-1, swinging a fly ball into shallow center field. Coming in is Tommy Jew, and it's going to drop in front of him for a base hit. Rounding second and coming to third is Isaac Collins. Tag applied by Seth Gray, and it's in time to nab the Creighton right fielder for out number 3, but not before an RBI single from Oliver Dunn plates the 7th run of the day for the Gatemen. Scoring from third is Goldfarb, but Mike Machma gets out of the 5th. Gatemen add an additional run and now lead 7-0 through 5 innings. When we come back in the top of the 6th, the Harbor Hawks will be up. Trevor Hauver, Seth Gray, and Pedro Pages coming to the plate when we return on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
The day of Zach Hart, the Franklin Pierce right-hander, is done after 5 innings pitched, and what a day he had. His best start of the summer, his longest outing of the summer. 5 innings pitched, just 2 hits, no runs, 2 walks, and a trio of strikeouts. The new arm for the Wareham Gatemen, Florida State right-hander Tyler Ahern. Ahern on the season, 0-2 with a 6.75 ERA in 12 innings pitched. First pitch to Trevor Hauver is swung on and fouled up and out of play down the third baseline.
Yeah, and you really can't say enough about Hart if we can go back to him for a second. I mean, only needing 3 strikeouts to get through 20 batters faced. Very efficient day for the reliever made starter today.
Ahern working from the windup, picks that glove above his head, kicks and fires the pitch to Hauver, and it runs outside for a ball.
I mean, extra starting pitching is worth its weight in gold coming down the final stretch of the season.
Hauver making his first at bat of the day, coming in for Matthew Barefoot. Takes a 1-1 pitch down low. Count moves to 2-1. Ahern this summer has only had 1 scoreless outing. That coming against these very Harbor Hawks back on June the 26th. Gateman won that contest by a score of 9-1. Harbor takes that pitch upstairs as the count's now 3-1 to the Sun Devil right fielder. Ahern's allowed multiple runs in each of his last 4 appearances. He's also gone 2 innings or more in each of the last 4 outings. Now the 3-1 offering to Harbor, swinging a line drive out to left center field. Coming over is the center fielder, Hyannis. Can't make the play, and it gets by him. Harbor takes a turn at first, but retreats back to the bag, throws back into the infield. Cut off by Oliver Dunn, and Harbor's on base with a leadoff single, picking up the 3rd hit of the day for the Harbor Hawks. Harbor staying the other way with that one, taking it out into the left center field gap. Hyannis trying to move over in time, but the UCLA product couldn't quite get there, put his glove on the backhand stab all the way to the grass, but couldn't quite corral it. That'll bring up another left-handed hitter in Seth Gray, the Wright State Raider digging in. Right foot back behind the left. Takes the first pitch outside for a ball.
Well, Seth Gray taking notes here. Harbor was 0 for 4 on an 0 for 4 spell going into that at-bat. And Seth right now 0 for his last 13, trying to break out of a skid himself.
Ahern now works from the set. Harbor a short lead. Seth Gray takes a fastball up and outside as ball 2 is issued to the Wright State Raider. Ryan Kreidler quickly jogs in to have a word with the Florida State right-hander. Gray digging a hole inside the batter's box with his back foot. Meeting concludes as Kreidler moves his way back to short. Seth today 0 for 2. Reached on an error and popped out to first base. And now the next pitch. Called strike right on the outside corner with a heater. This game's lasted just over an hour. We're at 7:16 p.m. 1 on, nobody out. 7-0 Gateman the score here in the top of the 6th. Ahern the stretch. And the pitch to Gray, called strike right at the bottom of the zone as the count moves to 2-2. Seth Gray this season hitting just .250 with runners on base. Harbor with the lead being held on by Lyle Lockhart. 2-2, swinging a ground ball over to the right side, fielded forehand side by the second baseman Dunn, throws to second for 1, and the relay back to first is not in time. Seth Gray beating it out by half a step. Reaches first and records a 4-6 fielder's choice. Harbor's thrown out at second, and there's 1 out for the Florida Atlantic catcher, Pedro Pages, who's manning first base today.
I mean, even in the midst of a slump, Seth Gray's effort never really wavering. He had to beat that one out down the line, beat the throw by about a step.
Pages looking for his first hit of the day. He hit one right on the screws in his last at-bat out to Jacob Goldfarb in left field. Recorded an out. That was back in the 4th. Swings at the next pitch and sends a fly ball out to left field. Goldfarb coming a couple of steps in and makes the grab for the second out. So Pedro Pages swings at the first pitch and sends it to the exact same spot as his last at bat, but Jacob Goldfarb right in his tracks to make the catch for the second out. Goldfarb's had a magnet on the FAU first baseman today, as it'll bring up Todd Lott out of Louisiana Lafayette. Lott today 0 for 2, looking strikeout and a ground ball out to third. Gray with a short lead at first. First pitch from Ahern, swinging a high fly ball out to left center field. In his tracks is Jeremy Idens, moving 2 steps to his right, settles under it and puts it away for out number 3. Harbor Hawks come up with 1 hit on a Trevor Hauver leadoff single, but nothing further. Leave 1 on base, and nothing comes across. The Wareham Gatemen still leading 7-0 here as the top of the 6th concludes. We'll be back right after this here at Spillane Field when we return on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Now back to today's voices of the Hawks, Chris Lucey and Lyle Goldstein.
Gateman come up in the bottom of the 6th inning, currently leading the Harbor Hawks by a score of 7-0, and the heart of the lineup leading things off, Austin Shenton, the left-handed hitter and third baseman out of Florida International. Only man so far who has not seen Machman swings at the first pitch and sends a fly ball out to deep right center field. Back goes Hoover, looks up, and that ball is way out of here. Have yourself a day, Austin Shenton. 2 home runs, 3rd hit of the day, and he puts the Gatemen up 8-0 here in the bottom of the 6th. My goodness.
And the most impressive thing, I think, about the 2 home runs that we've seen from Shenton today, both of them to dead center field, the deepest part of the ballpark here at Spillane Field, 412 feet to straightaway center. I think he's hit both of them out there.
Well, that first one went right over the 412 sign. That went out to right center field under the scoreboard as Hyannis takes a first pitch called strike. Took Hoover way out to his right. Has had a couple of those today where he's made his way all the way out to the wall. No warning track here at Spillane Field as Hyannis swings and misses through an off-speed pitch, and Machma's quickly ahead 0-2. But with no warning track, sometimes it can be a rude awakening to these outfielders, but Hoover watched that one leave the yard. He stopped in his tracks and just looked up toward the end. Now the 0-2 from Machma, swing and a miss for strike 3 through a fastball. Jeremy Hyannis is down on strikes for out number 1. So Machma responds right away with a K here for the first out of the 6th.
Important for him to calm himself down after giving up a big fly right there to Shenton, especially with Pavin Parks coming up, because we know that he can put a charge in the baseball, to say the least.
Parks stepping into the plate. 2 for 3 on the day, 2 singles, one of them coming for an RBI. Takes the first pitch down low. So Mike Machma coming in to relieve Brett Schultz after 3 1/3 innings. Currently to his name, 2 earned runs on 4 hits. Swing and a miss from Pavin Parks at a fastball up and out of the zone. Pavin Parks starting in his first game since July the 21st. The left-handed hitter out of Kent State sits with a 1-1 count. Swings and comes up empty through an off-speed from Machma as the count moves to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Pavin was just 2 for his last 22, but a 2 for 3 day is quickly turning things around for the left-handed hitter. The righty and Machma working from the right side. 1-2 offering, called strike 3, back-to-back strikeouts for the Michigan State right-hander, and there's 2 down in the bottom of the 6th.
And you think 7 home runs later in a great season for Kent State, you'd kind of want to stay away from directly challenging Parks, but Machma going the other way, going right after him there, fooling him looking and getting himself a very, very necessary second out after the leadoff home run.
So after the leadoff home run, 2 gone. Hitter now Lyle Lockhart takes a breaking ball for a called strike. Gateman came into the day with just 3 players hitting over 300. That being Shenton, Hyannis, and Collins, as a fastball runs outside to the hitter in Lockhart. But the Gatemen have been hitting the ball around the yard today. Everybody with the exception of Lockhart and Hyannis with a hit. Lyle with a 1-1 count and takes a fastball down. On deck, the catcher Drew Millis. Infield back with 2 outs. Outfield playing straight up. Trevor Hauver shifted a little bit to his right. The next pitch, squiggled out to the third baseman, Seth Gray. Fields it glove side and on the run. Throws across, and it's just in time to retire the hitter in Lockhart for the 3rd out of the bottom of the 6th. The Gatemen put another run on the board, have scored in all but 1 inning so far today, and lead Hyannis 8-0 through 6 innings. We'll be back for the top of the 7th in just a moment when we return on the Hyannis Harborhawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
You're listening to the Hyannis Harborhawks on the Hyannis Harborhawks Digital Network. Now back to today's voice of the Hawks, Lyle Goldstein.
Tyler Ahern's day is done for the Wareham Gatemen after throwing just 1 inning, and now into the game for the Wareham Gatemen, the right-hander in Pavin Parks. And if you're hearing that name, that has to make just about every Harborhawks fan roll their eyes, as Pavin Parks was the sole reason that the previous game between these two teams was put under protest. Parks was removed from the designated hitter spot and put into the pitcher's role, much like he is here. First pitch fastball to Eric Rivera is taken upstairs for a ball. Parks on the season. No earned runs allowed in 6 1/3 innings. Comes back with another heater. Rivera takes it inside, and it moves the count to 2 balls and no strikes. Well, the Harborhawks protested that game, or played it under protest, as Don Snedden, the Gateman manager, put the game under a protest as Rivera takes a called strike to move the count to 2-1. A couple of weeks later, the game got made up starting at the 7th inning. The Harborhawks would end up taking that game out at McKeon Park by a run. Now the 2-1 offering from Pavin. Breaking ball for a called strike as the count levels. 2-2 to Eric Rivera. The Florida Atlantic right fielder has reached base once today on a walk, but was thrown out on a 9-5 putout. Now the 2-2. Down low for ball 3, and the count runs full. So Parks, a two-way player. 2 hits already today on offense, and now looking to throw up a clean frame for the Gatemen in the 7th. 3-2 to Rivera, taken up and in for ball 4, and the FAU outfielder draws his 2nd walk of the day. He jogs his way 90 feet down to first base. 1 on, nobody out here in the top of the 7th. Gateman still leading 8-0. Brady Lindsley digging in. And Brady having just about the best day of any of the Harborhawks so far in this contest. 1 for 1, a walk and a single for the Oklahoma first baseman. Rivera yet to get a lead off first, adjusting his batting glove. Now gets a couple of steps, being held on by Lockhart. The stretch and the first pitch to Lindsley, swinging a ground ball foul up the first baseline. Parks gets a new ball back. Infield back. Center fielder in Jeremy Idens playing fairly shallow in center. Brady Lindsley, one of 3 lefties in the lineup today. Sets that bat just above his left shoulder, slightly moving it. The 0-1, swinging a line drive over the head of Austin Shenton and into left field for a base hit. Rivera rounds second, stops in his tracks and retreats back to the bag. Throw is cut off, and Brady Lindsley reaches base for the 3rd time today, picking up his 2nd hit of the ball game. Harbor Hawks have runners at first and second, nobody out for Taylor Garris.
Second baseman, number 10, Taylor.
The catcher in Millis made his way halfway to the mound to converge with the right-hander in Parks. Well, Brady Lindsley had just 1 multi-hit game coming into today's contest, but having himself a nice day here at Spillane Field as the Harbor Hawks try to chip away at this 8-0 lead. Time is called. Parks is off the mound, having a quick word with the field umpire. Home plate umpire makes his way back out behind home. Garris just outside of the box, moving his hands up the barrel of the bat. Sun starting to set here just off the Cape in Wareham. And now play is set to go. Garris into the box, right at the back of the chalk. Wiggles his bat, and Parks is into the stretch. Sets at the letters on the first pitch to Taylor Garris, a breaking ball up high. Garris is hitless today. Grounded out to second and struck out looking. Was pretty displeased at that last looking strikeout coming back in the 5th. Now the next pitch, swing and a miss through a fastball from Parks to even the count. Garris appeared in yesterday's contest in a Harbor Hawks loss to the Chatham Anglers. But Taylor was hit by 2 pitches yesterday and scored a run. Was one of the 2 runs that the Harbor Hawks pushed across and had just 3 hits. Now the 1-1, swinging a line drive foul to the right and off the netting just over the Gateman dugout. 4 hits today for the Harbor Hawks in tonight's contest, but nothing coming across home plate. Gateman still leading by a whopping 8 runs. 2 home runs from Austin Shenton, a long ball from Ryan Kreidler, and the Gateman plating a run in every inning with the exception of the bottom of the 3rd has been the cause of all that. Now the 1-2. Breaking ball out in front of the dirt, chested up by Drew Millis, and no advancement from either runner. Garris steps out. Wenzel on deck. Davis Wenzel, 2nd in the Cape Cod League coming into today in extra base hits with 16. Garris, feet shoulder width apart, swings and fights off another pitch from Parks, sending it foul down the right side and just in front of that fence. Taven Parks gets a new ball. As we mentioned, the Harbor Hawks have seen the right-hander once through 2 1/3 scoreless innings, 1 walk and 5 strikeouts, and had allowed just 2 hits all summer coming into tonight's contest. Pitch to Garris, swinging a high chopper over the mound, fielded by Paven Parks back behind the mound, throws over to first for the out, advancing each runner 90 feet. But how about that play from the usual position player in Paven Parks coming off the mound, fielding that one on a hop over the shoulder, turning his body and making a strong throw to Lyle Lockhart for the first out of the inning. A productive out from the Samford middle infielder. As Lindsley moves down to second, Rivera's over at third. 1 out now after the 1-3 put out, turning the lineup over for Davis Wenzel. Wenzel's hitting .325 coming into today within the last 10 games. Now finds himself in an RBI opportunity. Heater for a called strike is the first pitch to the Baylor shortstop. Davis went 0 for 1 yesterday and so far 1 for 3 with a single today. Middle infield back, Shenton even with the bag. Pitch to Wenzel, swinging a high pop up into shallow right field. Coming in is Isaac Collins, calling everybody off. Makes the grab. Eric Rivera goes a third of the way, but the ball's cut off, and he retreats back to the bag. Not deep enough to plate the FAU right fielder, and the second out's recorded here in the top of the 7th inning. That'll bring up Tommy Jew, UCSB center fielder, also in search of his first hit today. Tommy yesterday snapped a 6-game hitting streak as he was hitless against the Chatham A's. Paven Parks working from the windup. Sets letter high, and the first pitch. Swinging a ground ball over to the shortstop, Ryan Kreidler. Fields it on the backhand, throws across for out number 3. Harbor Hawks can't plate anything across as the score still 8-0 through 6.5 frames. But tune in here for the bottom of the 7th inning, a special half inning coming on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Scout liaison David Mandelberg and writer and photographer Brady Vernon taking over here on the headset for the bottom of the 7th, 8-0 Gateman when we return on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright.
Welcome back to the Hyannis Harbor Hawk Digital Network.
Magic Works.
Welcome back to the Hyannis Harbor Hawk Digital Network. I'm David Mandelberg. I'm joined today by Brady Vernon for this half inning. Starting, who's batting right now, Brady?
Lyle Lockhart from Houston.
Houston, never been there.
Yep.
Strike one by Mike Mockma. Mockma has been pitching the past few innings. Generally has a fastball, slider, and changeup. Fastball from the 89 to 92, slider in the high 70s, and a changeup in the low 80s. Pitch 2 comes in for a ball. Now, Mike Mockma is one of my favorite pitchers here for multiple reasons. He's tall for one. That's always nice to have. He goes to Michigan State, one of my favorite schools. As well, he just is able to pump in at low 90s and consistently. And then here goes fly ball, deep center, and Eric Rivera settles under it.
Correction, that's Tommy Jew out there in
Tommy
center.
Jew, never mind. I can't read numbers, ladies and gentlemen.
We all make mistakes.
That is very true, Brady.
Just some more than others, like the papers from yesterday.
Oh, yes, those statutes. I'm so sorry, folks, about that. I almost resigned.
Okay, and now stepping up to plate is Ryan Kreidler from UCLA. Go Bruins.
Have you ever been to UCLA?
I actually have. I covered the softball series for Arizona State this past month, and
I've never been. I really wish I'd gone.
Mockma's first pitch of the bat fouled off by Kreidler.
Now, what have been some of your favorite experiences here on the Cape, Brady? This is your first year here.
I mean, meeting the players, get to know things. Like Mike Mockma on the mound right now, he actually cannot bend his right arm straight.
Oh, wow. That's something that you just don't want to see your pitcher have to do.
As we were talking, Mockma pitched the ball into the dirt. The count is now even at 1-1. Score right now is 8-0 here in Wareham. Gateman leading by a large amount.
By a large margin, yes. Now,
Oh, Mockma's third pitch is hit into the hole, and Davis Wendell cannot stop it. Eric Rivera sets it back in. Now there's a man on first, David.
Yes, very extraordinary. Please, Brady, continue on. Tell me some more things that you've experienced. And before that, Jacob Goldfarb coming up to the plate. But yes, continue.
Honestly, David, my favorite part is going to team dinner, taking pictures of guys eating some fantastic meals out there. Shout out to all the sponsors of the good old Hyannis Harbor Hawks.
Yes,
Great
indeed.
food.
First pitch is for a strike. With that fastball just coming in, darting up in the zone.
Do you think you could even touch this fastball, like if you're trying to bunt?
If I was trying to bunt, very well possibly. In college, I went 1 for 6 with 3 walks and 2 strikeouts. And, now we're going fly. Tommy G running in. And just gets right by him. Goldfarb around to second. And he's going to get to third base on a triple. The ball is caught off, but the run scores.
And that play basically sums up this night so far, ladies and
Seidler
gentlemen.
just comes in and scores. Blazing speed there, coming from Houston. With a boy from Houston. What's even their mascot? I've never been to the University of Houston.
Cougars.
The Cougars.
What are your feelings about Cougars, David?
What kind of Cougars are we talking about?
The animal, duh.
Honestly, I really want to have one as a pet. I think I'm allergic to cats, but it'd be really fun.
Okay, we're going to stop here. Top of the lineup back for the Gateman with Isaac Collins from Creighton stepping up to the plate. Singled his last time. A potential RBI opportunity with a man on third. Oh, yeah, and the first pitch is in the dirt for a ball. David was distracting me.
My good looks really do that to people, you could say. For those that haven't seen me, I am by far the most perfect human being there is. Best specimen out there. Now, Brady, you've been here for the summer. What's your favorite activity you do on a day off, the odd day off?
Spending time with you, David. And while we were talking, Mockma did get a swing and a miss from Collins to even the count back up 1-1.
I think I'm tearing up here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks digital network as Brady giving me some really tearful comments. And folks, the lights are on right now with the beautiful sunset coming in.
Wait, where's the sunset?
Well,
ball dribble to Brady Lindsley at first base. He bobbles, but he will recover and make the out for number 2. But Goldfarb will come in the score to increase the Gateman lead to 10-0.
Not the worst score we've seen up against the Harbor Hawks. Some team, I forget when, scored about 16 runs against us.
It was 17-4 against these same Wareham Gatemen.
We haven't had much luck against them this season, but outside of them, we've been pretty good.
Now stepping up to the plate is Oliver Dunn from Utah. You ever been to Utah, David?
No, I have not, but I do know someone that did go. Andre Ingram.
And Dunn grounds one. And the diving Brady Lindsley cannot stop the ball. Trevor Hoover will bring it back in. Taylor Garris, and that is another single for the Gatemen.
I went to American University where I had the opportunity to talk with Laker Andre Ingram. Tremendous career in the G League. Finally makes it up to Lakers. Played in Salt Lake City. I asked him, what's the nightlife there? Golden State Warriors really said there wasn't. And he said, nah, man, there's none. That is the only thing I've come close to learning about Utah. And up to bat, I believe, is Austin Shenton, FIU, Nick McDonald's teammate.
Quite the night for Mr. Shenton. 2 dingers.
And the first pitch right there was a strike by Makma to Shenton. And they were head and head, Shenton barefoot for the average league in the Cape Cod League. Second pitch was a strike, low and away. And, it's just great to be able to watch these two guys continually go in each day and bat and do a great job of getting the ball in play. Unfortunately, Matthew Barefoot hit twice by a pitch they pulled out. Third pitch is a ball up and high. Up and high.
Up and high. That's a good one. See, we're rookies out here. Up and high.
This is the first time I've ever done a live broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. Lyle is going ballistic on the side with laughter. I hope I'm doing a good job. And the next pitch lofted up into left field where Eric Rivera makes the catch. Thank you so much.
This was a great time. We'll catch you never, but bye.
Goodbye. Have a great rest of your season.
today. Magic Works Media copyright. You're listening to the Cape Cod Baseball League on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Let's get you back to the game.
We're back here in the top of the 8th inning at Spillane Field. If you're just joining us, you missed a pretty eventful and unorthodox half an inning. Scout liaison David Mandelberg and writer and photographer Brady Vernon taking over on the mics. And how about this? They get a couple of runs in their inning. Triple from Jacob Goldfarb, single from Ryan Kreidler. Couple other hits put the Gatemen out 10-0. First pitch to Trevor Hauver to start the top of the 8th. Taken up high for a ball. Lyle Goldstein now joined back alongside Chris Lucey.
Howdy.
Harbor Hawks down 10. Looking to cut through as Trevor Hauver sends a ground ball through the left side and past the backhand to Ryan Kreidler into left field for a base hit. Trevor Hauver picks up his second hit in as many at-bats and is on at first with a leadoff single in the top of the 8th.
David Mandelberg back for his hat, too. Just can't get away from us, it seems. I didn't get the chance to listen to the inning, but Lyle, I trust it'll definitely be worth going back to the recording and checking out.
It was a little unorthodox, not the way we would do it, but I think that was the whole point of it. It was some good fun. These guys had some fun. They told some stories. We got to learn about a lot of the geographical locations of David and Brady and where they've been, where they haven't. That seemed to be a common trend with each batter. Seth Gray takes a first pitch fastball.
The real question, though, did David drop any spoilers about his new movie? I'm dying to hear all about it.
He did not. He kept that one a secret.
Well, good on him.
He kept that one to himself, but David, our scout liaison here for the second straight year, Brady in his first summer out in Hyannis. Hauver getting a short lead at first. Lockhart playing behind him. Another heater from Paven Parks is taken on the outside corner for strike 2. Seth Gray today, 0 for 3, has reached twice on an error in a fielder's choice. He's currently 0 for his last 12. And now the pitch from Lockhart. Fastball runs outside, 1-2 the count. Well, Seth Gray, a guy who's been so hot for the majority of this season, tailing off just slightly toward the end of the regular season. Left-handed hitter out of Wright State finds himself in a 1-2 count. His roommate and teammate Trevor Hauver on at first. Swings at the next pitch and chops it foul toward the Gateman dugout on the right side. Gray steps out, kicks his left leg once. Now finds his way back in, puts his hand to the brim of his helmet. Parks making his second inning in relief. Infield back. A very slight wind here in Wareham. 1-2 from the stretch. Swing and a miss for strike 3. Seth Gray swings right over the top of a breaking ball from Parks for the first out of the 8th. So Seth Gray, first strikeout of the night. Pages steps in now, the catcher out of FAU, but playing first base tonight. He's also in search of his first hit. Last 2 trips into the box. He's squared 2 balls up, but both of them right at the left fielder in Jacob Goldfarb. Page is currently 1 for his last 7. Takes a breaking ball away. 1 ball and no strikes. So the Gatemen really putting on an offensive surge here in this ball game. They lead 10-0, have scored in every inning with the exception of the bottom of the 3rd. Fastball misses way upstairs to Pages as the count moves to 2-0.
Yeah, and Lyle just has all the markings of Wareham flexing their muscles on Hyannis going into the playoffs and making sure they have a strong grip on first place in the West.
Parks from the stretch sets right at the letters. Hauver short lead at first. The pitch to the right-handed hitter in Pages is a called strike at the bottom of the zone. 2-1 now the count. But the Gatemen only adding to their offensive totals today. And if you looked on paper, it'd be pretty easy to say they're the second best offensive team on Cape Cod. Coming into today, second in hits, second in on base, second in average, second in runs scored. 2-1 to Pages is an off speed in the dirt, chested up by the catcher Drew Millis. But they're only adding to those totals today, as well as their home run count.
A very productive team coming in with a 7.17 on base plus slugging percentage as well.
23 long balls coming into today, but a pair from Austin Shenton and a long ball from Kreidler puts them up to 26 on the summer. Fastball to Pages misses inside for ball 4, and the Florida Atlantic first baseman draws a 1-out walk, pushing Trevor Hauver down to second. And the Harbor Hawks have 2 men on with 1 out for Todd Lott. But the Gatemen were 6th in home runs coming into tonight's ball game. But my goodness, have they made a statement on the Harbor Hawks, who have spent most of the second half of the season up in first place in the Western Division. Spillane Field has been a house of horrors for the Hyannis Ball Club this season, on the verge of dropping their third and final contest on the road against the Gatemen. Lott takes a strike up at the top of the strike zone for strike 1.
And he's 1 for his last 11 as well. Just trying to find his way back to the torrid start he had this year, where he was really proving a lot of the doubters wrong after a shaky season at UL Lafayette.
Lott standing at 6'4", quickly calls time to step out of the box. But Lott, a guy who, to say the least, likes to play his games at McKeon Park. He's currently on a 15-game hitting streak at home, but comes into today with just a .230 clip on the road. Swings at a breaking ball, sends a line drive back up the middle into center for a base hit. Hauver rounding third and heading home. He'll cruise in with no throw, cut off at second base, and Todd Lott comes through with an RBI single in the top of the 8th to put the first run on the board of the night for the Harbor Hawks.
Well, just the knock the Ragin' Cajun out of UL Lafayette was looking for. Good seeing eye single right up the middle, drives in Trevor Hauver, and the Harbor Hawks can at least today, for the second day in a row, say that they're not going to get shut out in what's already a lopsided game.
Pages moved up to second on the play. And now the Harbor Hawks trail by 9. Eric Rivera, the hitter. From the stretch is Pavin Parks. First pitch misses up high. Rivera's reached twice today, but so far just 0 for 1. Grounded out to second base back in the second inning. Two men on, 1 out. Next pitch from Parks misses away for ball 2. Time is called. Millis trots out to the mound to talk to his pitcher in Pavin Parks, who started today's ball game as the designated hitter. And Don Sneddon put him up on the mound to try to get a couple of innings of work out of him. So far, an inning and a third, 1 earned run on 3 hits.
Pavin Parks moving from DH to pitcher. Don't know where I've seen that one before.
Well, you might have missed it, Chris, whether or not you were up here for the start of the 7th, but I went into depth a lot about that one, as you're alluding to. That was the whole reason the Harbor Hawks and Gatemen had to play a game under protest.
Oh, don't worry, I saw.
Next pitch to Rivera is a fastball for a called strike at the knees. But then, in the final 3 innings of that protested game, finishing up just a couple of weeks ago out at McKeon Park, they put Parks into the game again. He got some work in that final contest against Hyannis. Swinging a foul by Rivera, cut out a play on the right side. They put Parks into that contest. He did some due diligence, but ultimately the Harbor Hawks still coming up with a win. They won by a run against the Gatemen. Wareham has one run win over the Hyannis Ball Club this season, that coming in a 4-3 victory out here at Spillane Field. That was the second of 3 home games for the Gatemen against Hyannis. 2-2 to Rivera, swinging a fly ball out to right center field, backtracking and off to his left is Idens, calling off the right fielder Collins, and makes the catch on the run for out number 2. Pages tags up and moves to third, but Jeremy Idens tracking down a ball in the gap and avoiding a near collision with the Creighton right fielder, Isaac Collins.
Nice base running from Pages right there, taking off for third, able to cruise on down there off the catch. And heck, if he'd been able to see that one drop, maybe a little less communication between Idens and Collins, he had enough steam, I think, going down the third base line to maybe turn around third and score. But regardless, moving up 90 feet and putting runners on the corners, a bit of a tougher situation for Pavin Parks to deal with on the mound, even with a 9-run cushion at his back.
Runners on the corners with 2 out. Brady Lindsley, the hitter. From the left side, right-hander Parks deals. First pitch fastball misses low and outside. Brady today, the hottest hitter in the Harbor Hawks lineup. 2 hits along with a base on balls. Pushing his average just under 190. Swings at the next pitch and sends one foul the other way and on the ground. Brady, one of 2 players with a multi-hit day today, the other being Trevor Hauver, who's 2 for 2 with a run scored. So the lefty's doing work in the Harbor Hawks lineup today. 4 hits combined from 3 lefties. Right-hander in Parks has the ball set on his right leg, now comes to the set. The stretch and the 1-1 to the hitter in Lindsley. Fastball downstairs for ball 2. Fairly quiet night here at Spillane Field. Not much crowd sitting on the outfield benches beyond the confines, but a scattered crowd throughout the first base side. Gateman looking to push a 4-point lead over the Harbor Hawks ball club as Lindsley takes a called strike right on the black of the outer half to level the count. 2-2 with 2 outs. Wareham currently sitting with 47 points. Hyannis with 45. Falmouth with 43 coming into today. And Katuitt with 41. So not just these 2, but the whole Western Division tightly knit toward the end of the regular season. Lindsley swings and fouls one off, just getting a piece of it to stay alive.
And on the other hand, the Eastern Division, a huge contrast. YD out front by 10 points, 53 to Chatham's 43. And then Harwich dropping off even more starkly, 36 and 27 for the Orleans Firebirds. And they're still the Firebirds in a tight battle for that last playoff spot with the Whitecaps.
5 of the 8 playoff spots clinched so far. The set and the 2-2 pitch, and it's a balk from the right-hander in Pavin Parks, was coming toward the plate and stopped in his tracks, didn't release the baseball as Pedro Pages trots home from third for run number 2 of the day for the Hyannis club. Down to second is Todd Lott, and it's now 10-2 Gateman here in the 8th inning. He just simply didn't throw it. He came to the stretch, went home, lifted the leg, and came off the mound, but didn't release the ball. Now Lindsley back in. Count still 2-2. Lott at second. The stretch and the pitch. Fastball up and away. Full count now to the Oklahoma Sooner and Brady Lindsley.
And Brady really working a great day at the plate for himself. A much needed bit of success for him as he has really been scuffling at the plate all season long.
3-2 with 2 outs. Payoff pitch from Parks, swinging a line drive off the umpire on the infield, squiggling out and sitting on the infield grass as Brady Lindsley beats out an infield single for his 3rd hit of the day. Todd Lott moving on to third, and up comes Taylor Garris with runners on the corners.
Well, I think that's one the umpires will be able to laugh off there as they just kind of meet in the middle infield, but a bit of a tough break for the Harbor Hawks, and Brady Lindsley really lining that one up the middle. Todd Lott with a great jump on it as well. Looked like he might have been able to go all the way around to score had that ball made it into the infield. I mean, he was at third base seemingly in the blink of an eye.
They're going to send Todd Lott back to second on that. But Lindsley still awarded a single as he now records his first 3-hit game of the summer. Brady 3 for 3 with a walk today. And now the number 9 hitter in Taylor Garris digging in. Right-handed hitter from Samford has runners on first and second with 2 out. Taylor Garris hitting 200 in his last 10 games. Sporting the number 10 on the back of his jersey. Takes a first pitch fastball upstairs for a ball. So Hyannis has plated their first runs of the ball game here in the 8th inning. RBI single from Todd Lott as Garris takes one downstairs to move the count to 2-0. And then Pages scored on a balk from Pavin Parks. But the Gatemen still winning by 8 runs. Ryan Kreidler came in to have a brief meeting with Parks at the mound, but he now retreats back. The Gatemen already sporting the best run differential in the entire league at plus 59, and it's only going up after tonight's contest. YD in second with 49. Pitch to Garris is a fastball up and in, ducks out of the way for ball 3. Turns that shoulder just a little bit, but stays inside the box. Harborhawks, on the other hand, negative 26 run differential coming into today, the lowest in the Western Conference. 3-0 from Parks. Fastball inside, gets Garris right on the foot for ball 4 anyway, as the Samford middle infielder will make his way down to first base. Lott walking over to third, Lindsley lightly trotting over to second. Harborhawks have the bases loaded with 2 outs, and that is all Don Snedden will see from his right-hander in Pavin Parks, relieving him from the game with 2 outs in the top of the 8th inning. New arm coming on for the Gatemen when we come back right after this on the Hyannis Harborhawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
You're listening to the Hyannis Harborhawks on the Hyannis Harborhawks Digital Network. Now back to today's voices of the Hawks, Lyle Goldstein and Chris Lucey.
Pavin Parks' night is concluded. The right-hander out of Kent State finishes his day throwing an inning and 2/3, and now McGregor Hines getting loose on the mound for the Wareham Gatemen. Right-hander out of Dallas Baptist University, teammate of Parker Towns of these Hyannis Harborhawks. But for Hines on the season, he's thrown 5 innings so far, Hasn't allowed a run. This will be his third appearance of the summer. Walked 3, struck out 5. One of his 2 appearances was a start, and one was a relief appearance, and now set for inning number 2 out of the bullpen, or outing number 2 out of the bullpen. Go ahead, Chris.
And Hyannis coming out of San Jacinto Community College before going to DBU, following the same trajectory as a Falmouth Commodore new catcher in Herbert Iser, who will be joining him with the Patriots this year down in Dallas.
Davis Wenzel steps in with the bases loaded and 2 out. Lott at third, Lindsley at second, Garris at first. Wenzel takes a first pitch for a called strike. The last batter that Paven Parks faced was Taylor Garris. 4 pitches, and on the 4th one, he plunked him right on the foot. And Garris has just been a hit machine over these last couple of ball games. 3 hit-by pitches in the last 2 contests. From the stretch is Hines. Comes home to Wenzel, checks his swing, and goes around for a strike to level the count. Or make it 0-2 to the Baylor shortstop, who adjusts his helmet, takes half a practice swing outside the box, and now is back in. McGregor Hines looking to face just one batter here in the 8th and leave the bases stranded. The stretch from the Dallas Baptist product. Rocks and fires the 0-2 pitch. Off speed, misses low and away. So in the entire Cape Cod League, only Kyle Stowers of the Falmouth Commodores has more extra base hits than the man at the plate right now in Davis Wenzel. Davis, 16 extra base hits on the season. Finds himself in a 1-2 count. The offering from Hines. Fastball runs way outside, stabbed on the backhand by the catcher in Drew Millis to even the count at 2-2 and prevent Todd Lott from scoring on a wild pitch.
I mean, it's good that they have a little bit of confidence developed early, Millis and the man on the mound in Hines. You can waste a couple with the pitcher's count at 0-2.
2-2 offering now to Wenzel. Breaking ball for a called strike 3, and that'll do it for the Harbor Hawks in the top of the 8th. They push across 2, but leave 3 left on base, and the score is currently 10-2 Gatemen through 7.5 frames. Bottom of the 8th coming up in just a moment. Due up for the Gatemen, Jeremy Idens, Paven Parks, and Lyle Lockhart. When we return on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network, 10-2 Gatemen the score.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright. Back to Chad Gassman making all the right moves on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks digital network.
New arm on the mound for the Harbor Hawks in the bottom of the 8th. It's the right-hander Kyle Kemp out of Lipscomb University. Mike Machma's night is done after 3 2/3 innings pitched. The Michigan State right-hander allowed 7 hits, 4 earned runs, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. Kemp sets at the belt. Body angled over toward third, and the first pitch to the hitter in Jeremy Idens is a called strike. So Kemp working from the windup, but body not fully turned toward home plate. And working from the right side of the mound. The right-hander's 0-1 offering is a fastball down low to level the count. Kemp so far this season started off with the Katuitt Kettleers, picked up by the Harbor Hawks early in the year, making his 11th appearance, has thrown 9 2/3 innings up to this point. 1-1 offering, breaking ball, swung on and fouled off on the first base side and out of play. Along with those 9 2/3 innings for Kemp, he's posted a 3.72 ERA, 5 walks, 9 strikeouts. Kemp staring down the hitter in Idens with a 1-2 count. Gets the sign from Pedro Pages, rocks and fires the 1-2 offering, a fastball low and outside, as the count is now 2 balls and 2 strikes. Infield back. Sun is fully set here in Wareham. Kemp in search of his first out of the inning. The right-hander deals the 2-2 pitch, swinging a weak ground ball over to Davis Wenzel at short. Charging in, fields it glove side, throws across, and it's just in time to retire Jeremy Idens for the 5th time tonight and out number 1 in the bottom of the 8th.
And Davis Wenzel just makes it look like it's all one motion, charging in, and a very smooth transition from glove to hand. I think that's something that people miss about Davis. He's just so smooth with his hands when he's either at third or playing up the middle at short, making a ranging, tough, in-charging play look very, very fluid.
Kemp now set to face his first left-handed hitter of the inning in Paven Parks. Parks today is 2 for 4 with a pair of singles. Takes a fastball down low.
And as we've learned, now you most certainly can go from DH to the mound, back to DH.
He's still in the game, and no protests so far today, as it's a 1-0 count to the left-handed hitter. Kemp gets his sign. Wheels and fires the 1-0 pitch, and it's a fastball, runs inside again. 2 balls, no strikes. Paven Parks in search of his 3rd hit. Last time Kyle Kemp appeared in a game, he threw an inning and a third and a 2-1 loss to the Bourne Braves. That fastball catches the bottom of the strike zone as a strike is called by the home plate umpire, and the count moves to 2-1. Quickly stepping out of the box is Paven Parks. Left hand was to the barrel of the bat. Now into his stance. Feet shoulder width apart, wiggling the bat behind his left shoulder. 2-1 from Kemp. Fastball inside again. Slightly brushes Paven Parks off the plate, and the count's now 3-1. Well, Kyle Kemp went multiple innings for just the 2nd time in his summer here with the Harbor Hawks in that 2-1 loss. He gave up the 1 earned run on 2 hits, one of them being the Jake Gorella walk-off single. 3-1 fastball, runs inside for ball 4. Sprinting down to first is Paven Parks as the ball got away from the catcher in Pedro Pages, but runs after it and collects it quickly, throws back to the mound, but Paven Parks reaches for the 3rd time tonight on a 1-out walk here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Certainly a productive day for him. I mean, along with a strikeout on the mound, he's gotten on base 3 times, a pair of singles. Also struck out at the plate once, too, but just a very loaded up day for the man out of Kent State.
Lyle Lockhart now the hitter. 10-2 game. 1 man on, 1 out. Kemp set to face the left-handed hitter in Lyle Lockhart. Kyle Kemp gets his sign. Fires home the first pitch, and it misses low and in for ball one. So Kemp on for his first appearance in 4 days since that Bourne Braves game. Braves currently tonight trailing the Kettleers by a score of 6-2 as Kemp's off-speed pitch catches the zone to even the count at 1-1. And that is an absolute must-win for the Bourne Braves, and so far not doing all they need to find a way to get into the playoffs. They currently trail the Cotuit Kettleers by 6 points as Kemp's next pitch catches the outer half of the zone to move the count to 1-2. 41 points for Cotuit to Bourne's 35, but if the Kettleers can hang on, they'll move that lead to a full 8 points. Bourne has really spiraled off in the back end of this regular season. Kemp's 1-2, a called strike 3 to the hitter in Lyle Lockhart, and he's down for out number 2 of the 8th.
I mean, going back to what you were saying about Cotuit and Bourne, I mean, it's very interesting with Bourne and Cotuit both bringing back a number of returners, and Bourne bringing guys back from a team that won the Western Division last year, went all the way to the championship series, and then really gave Brewster a run for its money. Just not able to really rekindle the same magic. It really baffles the mind to think that those guys just couldn't find the same formula.
First pitch to the new hitter, and Drew Millis is grounded out on a hop to Garris at second base, bobbles it quickly, but throws across to Brady Lindsley just in time for the third out of the inning. So Kyle Kemp allows 1 walk, but nothing further, puts up a scoreless inning on the board for the Harbor Hawks in the bottom of the 8th, just the second inning all game. The Gatemen have been held scoreless. They still lead 10-2 through 8 innings, and the Harbor Hawks coming up for their last licks in the top of the 9th. Davis Wenzel, or Tommy Jew, Trevor Hoover, and Seth Gray do up when we return on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
In combination with the Hyannis Harbor Hawks and Ocean Street Studios comes a brand new show bringing you everything Harbor Hawk. This is Birds the Word, a comprehensive new way to engage with your favorite summer ball team. I'm your host, Harrison Myers, and every Thursday until the end of the 2018 Cape League season, we'll bring you everything Harbor Hawk. Interviews with players and coaches, behind-the-scenes tours, and stories you may not have heard about. Make sure you subscribe today so you don't miss any of the action.
Harbor Hawks come to bat in the top of the 9th inning, trailing by 8 and facing McGregor Hines, who's back on the mound after a third of an inning's work, striking out Davis Wenzel with the bases loaded to end the 8th. 2-3-4 due up for Hyannis, leading things off. Tommy Jew wiggling that bat behind his right shoulder, and he takes a first pitch ball on a heater. Harbor Hawks got 2 back in the top of the 8th inning, but before that had put up 7 straight scoreless frames. Hines from the windup. Next pitch to Tommy is a fastball up high, 2-0 now. Tommy 0 for 4 so far today and was hitless in yesterday's ball game as well. The 2-0 from McGregor Hines. Breaking ball for a called strike. And that's not to take anything away from Tommy because he's been red hot. 343 in his last 10 games and 316 in his last 5. Now the 2-1. Breaking ball runs away. 3-1 now. Tommy, who started his summer off to a little bit of a cool start, his average set just under 200 for a lot of the summer, but has really come into his own, especially post All-Star game. 3-1 offering now, swinging a pop-up foul up and out of play behind home.
I mean, it was only a matter of time until Tommy hit his stride. The #1 prospect in the New England Collegiate Baseball League last year, he's somebody who really has shown the entire country time and time again that he's one of the premier center fielders out there in collegiate baseball.
He was named the MVP of the NECBL last season. Then in his sophomore year out at Santa Barbara, 312 average and 5 home runs. 2 long balls this summer. 3-2 pitch, fastball runs upstairs for ball 4, and Tommy Jew draws a leadoff walk, reaching for the first time tonight. He's on at first, bringing up Trevor Hover.
They say it all starts with a leadoff walk. I mean, that's not how you want to set the tone for an inning, to say the least. And anything that could get started for Hyannis right now would just be really for pride at this point, unless they can pull off a miraculous comeback.
Hover, one of 2 Harbor Hawks with multiple hits. 2 singles to his name today and 2 tries. Swings and fouls off the first pitch from McGregor Hines, out of play behind home.
Hover giving up a lot of, making broadcasters do a lot of alliteration with that last name. Hover, Harbor. It can trip me up too.
Well, Trevor Hover finds himself in an 0-1 count. Lyle Lockhart playing behind the runner at first in Tommy Jew. From the stretch is Hines. Comes home to Hover, swinging a line drive through the right side for a base hit. Moving down to second is Tommy Jew. The ball is thrown back in, and Trevor Hover picks up his 3rd hit of the ball game. 3 singles and 3 tries as there's 2 men on with nobody out in the top of the 9th.
The Arizona State Sun Devil heating up right now. I mean, having himself a great game, and Tommy Jew unintentionally setting a bit of a screen on Lyle Lockhart, who tried to dive and make a play going towards Glove's side, but Tommy, with a pretty big lead, got in front of him a little bit and got in the way as that ball just roped right past him into right field.
That'll bring up Seth Gray for plate appearance number 5 of his night. Takes a first pitch fastball that's outside for ball 1. But Trevor Hover really having himself a big night after taking over for Matthew Barefoot in the early going of this ball game. We've seen Trevor's average swing way up and then tail off a little bit from time to time, but now it's on the uprise again, just a point under 300, as Seth Gray takes an off speed for a called strike, as the count's now 1-1. And Trevor Hover, one of very few freshmen out here on this Hyannis ball club. Hyannis started the summer with just 3, Colin Hall, Jordan Fowler, along with Hover. The stretch from Hines, 1-1 to Seth Gray, is a fastball low. But Hover, despite hitting .227 in his freshman season at Arizona State, showing no signs of any freshman learning curve out here on the Cape. The 3-hit man has a lead at first, Lockhart playing behind him. Tommy Jew with a slight lead at second, as Hines quickly steps off the mound. Now he's back on, working from the right side. Checks the runner. Kicks and deals the 2-1 to Seth Gray, who swings and sends a high pop-up into shallow right field. Moving off to his left and toward the line is Isaac Collins. Makes the catch and foul ground for the second out. Tommy Jew tagging to third. The throw is a couple of seconds late as Austin Shenton fields it on a hop. But Tommy tagging up 90 feet as the Harbor Hawks now have runners on the corners with 1 out.
Yeah, you're not really going to beat Tommy Jew going only 90 feet over towards third base, getting a nice start from second with anything short of a missile from right field, and Collins just didn't have one in him right there to gun the speedster.
Now Pedro Pages finds himself in an RBI opportunity. Pedro today, 0 for 3 with a walk. First time seeing the right-hander in McGregor Hines from Dallas Baptist. Right-hander fires the first pitch. Fastball gets away from the catcher in Millis. Tommy Jew's going to walk home from third as the third run of the day is plated for the Harbor Hawks. 10-3, Gateman now the score. Hauver moves up to second. And Hyannis has now scored in back-to-back innings here at Spillane Field. Pages finds himself in a 1-0 count. That ball was low and skipped away from the Missouri State catcher in Drew Millis. Pages hitting .238 with runners on base this summer. And now the pitch to the FAU first baseman. A called strike on an off-speed right at the top of the strike zone. Well, Pedro's a guy that certainly likes to see some southpaws on the mound, as the right-handed hitter in Pages has a .385 average against left-handed pitchers this summer. Right now, he's got a righty in McGregor Hines, who currently steps off the mound. Resets for a quick second, and now back on. He comes to the set in the stretch. Hauver with a lead at second, not being held on. 1-1 offering. He slightly checks his swing, but does not go around. Millis chests the ball and moving off to his right to keep Hauver true at second base. Hines will receive a new ball from behind home plate. .827 the time. Just approaching the 3-hour mark in this contest. 13 runs between the two combined ball clubs, but the Gatemen out to a 7-run lead. Hines ready. 2-1 to Pages. Swing and a miss. Chases one and swings right over the top of it to level the count. Todd Lott waits on deck. If they extend the inning, Eric Rivera's in the hole. But Pages, despite hitting unbelievably well against left-handed pitching, has seen all right-handers tonight. Hart started the game, followed by Tyler Ahern, Pavin Parks, and now McGregor Hines, who gets his sign and is ready with the 2-2 offering. Fastball upstairs to move the count full. Infield playing back, 1 out. Shenton way behind the bag at third. Quiet night here at Spillane Field in Wareham. As McGregor Hines is ready with the payoff pitch, swinging a shallow ground ball out to the shortstop, and Kreidler comes in and kicks off the top of his glove, and he can't make the play. Pedro Pages beating it out at first. Hauver moving down to third, and the Harbor Hawks have runners on the corners again as Pages fisted a ground ball just over the mound for the right-hander in McGregor Hines. Kreidler was coming in and moving off to his left, couldn't quite corral the ball, and Pedro reaches for the second time in as many at-bats.
Well, better late than never on your first hit, and Pedro just dinking one right in the wrong spot in the infield. A very good fielding infield for the Wareham Gatemen this year, but Pedro picking his spot and doing so beautifully and giving Todd Lott a good situation.
Runners on the corners with 1 out. The Raging Cajun and Lott the hitter. The first pitch from McGregor Hines. Fastball gets away from the catcher in Millis again, skips over his head as Hauver trots home from third, and the score is now 10-4 in favor of the Gatemen. Pages coasts down to second. Runner still in scoring position for the Harbor Hawks, and Hyannis now trails by 6 runs. Go ahead, Chris.
Crickets coming from the bullpen for the Wareham Gatemen as of now. Nobody getting loose from what we can see. It's a bit obscured, but usually you'll be able to see silhouettes throwing and warming up down the right field line where the Gatemen have their bullpen behind a little bit of a screen. And now I think I start to see an arm getting loose out there.
1-0 the count to Todd Lott. He's got 6 long balls on the summer, 3 coming at home and 3 on the road. And now the 1-0 pitch. Fastball gets way away from Millis. Pedro Pages trots down to third. And now the FAU first baseman's 90 feet away from making it 10-5. Things starting to get away from the right-hander, and McGregor Hines has thrown a trio of wild pitches here in this top of the 9th inning. Don Snedden calls time and makes his way out to the mound, and it looks like he'll relieve his right-hander in Hines of his duties. Still some action going on in the Gateman bullpen, as it's actually the pitching coach, Jim Lawler, out there just trying to settle his pitcher down. Millis out there as well for some words of encouragement. Things starting to conclude now as the home plate umpire making his way back to the mound. Meeting adjourns, everybody back to their respective spots. And Lott finds himself in a 2-0 count.
And in some of these instances, you really just have to remind these guys where they're coming from. I mean, Hines was able to save 6 games for the DBU Patriots this year, struck out 65 batters in his work out there for Dallas Baptist. So just needs to return to what he's been doing right all summer long.
2-0 to Lott. Breaking ball low and outside. These have been the first runs of the summer that McGregor Hines has allowed to any team. Of course, just making his 3rd appearance, but was scoreless in 5 straight innings. Allowed 2 hits in those first 5 frames. Now the stretch in the 3-0 to Lott. Fastball for a called strike. 3-1 now the count.
I mean, he was visibly flustered after the 3rd wild pitch, saying a little something he probably shouldn't have at the top of his lungs amongst a pretty still decently sized crowd here at Wareham, but starting to fight his way back into this at-bat now.
Looking for an RBI base knock as he swings and pops one foul to the right side and out of play. Full count now to Todd Lott in search of his 2nd hit of this ball game. Came up with an RBI single back in the 8th inning. That plated Trevor Hauver. Page is the man at 3rd. 3-2, 1 out. Payoff pitch to Lott, swinging a ground ball over to Austin Shenton at 3rd. Fields it on a hop, throws across the diamond on the run, and it's in time to retire Todd Lott. Pedro Pages scores from 3rd on an RBI ground out from the Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajun, as the score is now 10-5 Wareham.
2 RBIs on the day for Todd Lott. I mean, only 1 hit on the game, but still able to make his impact felt and also build up a little bit of confidence outside of McKeon Park.
Eric Rivera now the hitter with the bases empty. Harborhawks trailing by 5, and McGregor Hines now back into the windup. Right-hander rocks and fires the first pitch, and it's a fastball high. Rivera has reached twice today. 0 for 2. Fly out and a ground out. 2 walks to his name. Swings at that pitch and sends a line drive down the left field line, staying fair for a base hit, and that's going to get all the way to the wall. Rivera rounding first, cruising into 2nd, standing up with a 2-out double here in the top of the 9th inning. Rivera with his first hit of this ball game, 3rd time reaching.
Chalk came up at 1 for 3 right now, also getting a standing ovation from the guys in the Harborhawks dugout. I mean, they know every bit of what Eric Rivera has been going through this season, hovering around 209, but just coming to the field every day, getting a lot of opportunities, and just not getting very lucky with where the baseball has been falling for him. He's lined out to a lot of guys. He's had a lot of hits robbed from him, and right there, Goldfarb had no chance to steal that double from Eric, and his teammates were proud.
Turned on that inside pitch from the right-hander in Hines, as he now stands at 2nd with a solid lead. Brady Lindsley, the hitter, takes a first pitch strike. That right on the outer half from the right-hander in Hines. Brady Lindsley, 3 for 3 and a walk today.
A hit here will get him over 200.
Hines from the set. Pitch to Lindsley, swinging a fly ball out to shallow center field, getting down for a base hit. Eric Rivera getting a wave on from 3rd, coming home, standing up, the throw not in time. And Brady Lindsley, have yourself a 4-hit night. 10-6, Gateman in the top of the 9th, and Brady Lindsley coming through with an RBI single. Taylor Garris now the number 9 hitter, looking to keep this rally going, but how about the day from Brady Lindsley?
a much-needed turnaround for Brady. Again, it's been a tough season for him. He's a very talented ball player. Everyone's got a good amount of talent if they're getting out here to Cape Cod. And he's just needed to be able to work out the kinks, get everyday playing time. And the fact that he's stepped up and played so much first base this season has really paid dividends for him.
Harbor Hawks came into this inning trailing by 8. Now the deficit just 4. Guerra swings at the first pitch and grounds it right back to the mound off the chest of McGregor Hines, who underhands it to first, and that's the final out of the ball game. Harbor Hawks put up 4 in the top of the 9th, but too little, just a little bit too late, as the Gatemen win 10-6 and now move their lead to 4 points over the Harbor Hawks in the Western Division. 49 for the Gatemen, 45 points for Hyannis.
Well, despite a lopsided score here, 10-6, I don't think that this was the route that the Wareham Gatemen were hoping for to completely kind of try to crush the morale of the Harbor Hawks, because a late rally right here, you saw how it injected a little bit of life into the Harbor Hawks dugout. You see guys in Eric Rivera and Brady Lindsley, dudes who are well-liked in the clubhouse, coming up with some clutch hits late in the game, bringing up their averages a little bit, helping out their own summers. This is a game that, despite being tough at times, I think put a little bit of wind in the Harbor Hawks' sails, albeit it might take them out of the running for the Western Division regular season championship. I think this was a big confidence builder for them.
Well, that'll do it here at Spillane Field for the broadcast, but stick around as Robert Marcello will catch you up with everything you need to know from this game and around the rest of the league on the postgame show. One more time, 10-6, the final score here at Spillane Field in Wareham, as the Gatemen now find themselves in a 4-point lead up at the top of the Western Division. Stick around for the postgame show when we return on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright.
Hello, everyone, here from Spillane Field here in Wareham. Harbor Hawks tonight have a tough loss, but able to score a couple of runs in the top of the 9th inning, as the final in Brewster is 4-3. They move in the 4th spot in the playoffs, currently beat the Orleans Firebirds. With a couple more games left, the YD Red Sox beat the Harvest Mariners 8-1. The final here in Wareham is 10-6. In the top of the 8th inning, the Cotuit Cavaliers currently lead against the Bourne Braves 8-2, and then in the bottom of the 5th, the Chatham Anglers are only up 1-0 against the Falmouth Commodores. That's going to do it all here on the postgame show. I'm Robert Marcello. Tomorrow, the Harbor Hawks try for a 3rd time to face off against the Orleans Firebirds, a matchup that happened in mid-July, and then last week tried to make it up, and they had to rain it out again. So hopefully tomorrow it doesn't rain and it's a beautiful sunny day. That's what it's looking like. See you all tomorrow.